second rule of Fight Club is you do not talk about...
Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
English, mother...
Friday, you ain't got no job, and you ain't got shit to do.
Let's put a smile on that face.
Movie Mafia, welcome back to the film room. As always, I'm Scott. I'm here with Dion.
What's up?
Yeah, you gotta say what's up, man. Come on, you gotta say hi to the people.
They're gonna cue me say what's up, Dion.
Oh, okay. Hey, I gotta tell you how to do everything. Come on,
yeah,
man.
apparently.
Jeez. And today we're doing the Korean mystery drama Burning. This came out in 2018. Was directed by Chang-dong Lee. Have you seen any of his other movies?
Nah, I've never seen any of his other movies.
Yeah, I looked into
Yeah.
them and I didn't write any of them down because none of them even like resonated with me or anything. Like none of
Yeah.
them rung any bells. But
Mhm.
I guess that's again normal for an international
Yeah.
film that obviously I don't see a ton of Korean movies. You know, the ones that are popular and make their way overseas, I suppose. But
Mhm.
I couldn't find the budget for this, which was weird. Normally a quick Google search does that, but couldn't find it. But it did 8 million at the box office, so a small movie. Again, probably why I didn't see it or why we
Yeah.
haven't heard of it. Or well, you had heard of it. So what was, because this was your suggestion, what made you suggest this for this week?
Honestly, I remember I just heard. I can't even remember who it was. But no, I think it was just, I follow different like movie like Instagram pages and stuff like that, and they're doing like a list of like top movies that like are like mystery
whatever,
movies that like
whatever.
have like a mystery. And I saw this on them. I was like, okay, I've never heard of that. And I saw it was on Netflix too. So I was like, okay, it's on Netflix. That's easy
Right.
find, because like a lot of other like international movies are just hard to find. You have to like
Yeah.
either pay for them or just like it's a manhunt. So the fact that it was sitting there, and for whatever reason, I don't know why this movie popped. Though actually, no, I think I do know why. I think because Steven Yeun's in it, but
Okay.
because I
Yeah.
say all the other movies don't have like stars known in America, but like boom, you have one of the biggest, arguably one of the biggest TV shows in America.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, this and I noticed in the research after that it was one, not awards, but like a lot of big like newspapers, or not newspapers, I don't know, I sound like 100 years old, but a whole lot of like journalistic websites had
yeah,
lists on, top foreign films or the top movies of this year, that year, and it was on a lot of those lists. So
Mhm.
it critically was very well received. This is based on a short story called Barn Burning
Mhm.
out of a book by Haruki Murakami. He wrote in 1993.
Mhm.
And that short story, I kind of read into it, is there, it gives a loose premise of this movie. It has a character that was with someone, and then a third person comes in, and then there's the burning side of things. So they at least got just inspiration, I think, but the story's quite original, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
Mhm. No, I think you're right, because I looked into the short story too, and I got to give it some love to what's her name, Chang Chung Si, I think her name is, the girl that plays Jaime in the movie.
Okay.
She's
Yeah.
actually pretty known. She's found herself to be known now. Like she's been into a
Right.
couple of things, and the movies that I've seen, I think that's another thing that made me want to watch it too. I think I heard about Burning. I saw Steven Yeun was in it. I also saw her was in it, because I've seen other two Korean movies that she's in that are also on Netflix. Remember I told you to watch that Call movie?
Call? No, I don't.
It was called The Call. It was like I sent you a picture of it. It was like I was like, oh, this Korean. I just watched this South Korean movie. I remember like, oh yeah, they're usually
Oh, I
bangers.
do remember that.
She's like one of the leads in it. There's two girls that are the
Okay.
leads in it, and she's one of them. And I was like, oh damn, she's in this Burning movie too. I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And then I saw another movie that she was in that was also on Netflix. I'm like, okay, let me give this one a chance. I've already seen her in
How
other
was she
movies.
in those other two movies?
Completely different too. They're a different character, which I was like, okay, which is
Yeah,
insane because this was her first role.
yeah, I was just about to say this was her acting debut that I
Yeah.
saw, and she does really well in it.
No, she does.
You know, I'm not gonna say she carried the movie by any means, but
Yeah,
she was good. And
yeah.
as one of the three main characters in this movie, she had a lot of important scenes.
Hmm.
And I mean, kind of halfway through, or maybe two-thirds through, she's kind of gone. So
Yeah.
she's not there for the whole movie,
No,
but
true.
yeah, she did really well for the scenes that she was in. And a lot of this movie is just the relationship between these three people and how they're interacting with each other, and kind of what's being said, what's not being said. Because like mentioned, it's like a mystery, and we're trying to figure out kind of what's going on as the movie's
Like progressing.
unrolling.
Hmm.
Yeah, but so like I said, in these interactions between these three characters, those are very important because there's not a whole lot of action
Yeah.
or anything else going on, so they have to really work well together. And yeah, she does really, especially for her debut, I think she was really good.
Hmm.
So should we jump right in, or do you
Let's
have
jump into it.
anything? All
No,
right,
let's
let's
just
do
jump
it.
into it.
So we open with our character, one of our main characters, Jong-soo.
Yeah.
He's walking through the streets. He's delivering something to a store. He's a delivery man, and we see Hae-mi, our one of our other main characters, and she's like dancing outside of the store. There's like these two girls in
Yeah.
uniform, and they're doing like a promotional dance or whatever, trying to get people into the
Yeah.
store. They're running a contest, like a raffle, basically. Um, she recognizes Jong-soo, and and they talk for a bit. So they knew each other before, and she recognizes him. So when she's on her break or whatever, they go into just an alley on the side. They have a conversation, and they agree to meet up for drinks after.
Hmm.
So they meet at the drinks, like at the
Yeah.
bar or whatever. And she says she's going to Africa. She's
Hmm.
going on a trip to Africa very soon, and she asks Jung-soo to feed her cat while she's away,
Yeah.
which is kind of weird. Not weird, but I mean, she just saw this guy that she didn't know she was going to bump into, right? Recognized him,
That's so
was
true.
like, "Oh, hey, thank God I ran into you. I need somebody to watch my cat." Like, she had no other plans for her cat. Damn.
And she works fast too, because like you said, like they meet up because like they do the whole raffle thing. She basically rigs it so he could win a watch, and then
Yeah.
and then in the end she just he gives it to her, and like she's asking, "Do you have a girlfriend?" I'm like, "Yo, like she makes you have a girlfriend? You should give it to one." And then she's like, "Give it to me, and then I'll watch my cat." Like
Yeah, she's I mean, Jong-soo is a simp throughout this whole
oh
movie.
yes,
So we're seeing that right away. Like you said, she's kind of playing him already. She got a free watch out of this. She
yeah,
got a free cat sitter.
hmm,
But irresponsible pet owner, that's all I gotta say. Uh so he so after the bar, he goes to her apartment
yeah,
to meet the cat, and she got a tiny little apartment.
hmm,
It's, you walk in and there's a sink and a couple cabinets on the side, bedroom,
yeah,
bathroom. That's it.
yeah,
She even says like she doesn't get any sunlight because it's north facing, and she can only get a little bit of sunlight when it reflects off of a tower
yeah, which is
that's
wow.
nearby. Um, so that's I I mean, we're seeing that she's not the most wealthy,
Yeah,
and neither is Jong-soo.
hmm,
He's just a delivery man, but he's a writer as well. He's an aspiring writer. But yeah, they're in the maybe not lower class, but lower middle class, because
yeah,
they're not homeless or anything, but
hmm,
they're not. We don't see any instances or any evidence of them like really struggling to get by, being paycheck to paycheck. But
yeah.
they have modest living situations.
Yeah, they're just messy as hell. That's the main thing.
True.
Like the nothing says they can't clean up after themselves.
Yeah, that doesn't cost anything.
That it doesn't cost a dime.
You're right. That's a good point. But in her defense, in a tiny apartment, like there's not a lot of room to put stuff away.
I mean, we see that room gets cleaned later,
Yeah, true. That's a good.
but
Yeah, you're right.
so I don't know about that.
Yeah, good point. She's so she says in this first interaction, she reminds Jong-soo of something that happened in school when they were young.
Yeah.
And she says, "You remember you called me ugly?" And he's like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, you crossed the street, told me I was ugly, and then walked away." I was like, "Damn." Like like not only like were you like if you were just with the girl and obviously don't call her ugly, but like at least I could kind of see that, but he went out of his way to cross the street just to tell this girl she was ugly. Like, what an ass.
And not even just ugly, she said, "Yeah, you said you are really ugly." With emphasis on it. That's crazy.
That's madness. Like,
That's real bad.
and it's not like he was, well, I guess we don't know, but it's not like we don't assume he was the most popular guy in
That's
school.
what
Or,
I'm s
he's not the best looking guy. Like, he's a normal looking guy. That's madness. The audacity.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
But weirdly enough, right after this, they start hooking up.
Yeah, they get freaky.
So yeah, so she's like, "Yeah, you thought I was ugly, but I'm not ugly now." And she makes the first move. Yeah, she's ballsy, man.
She
She's
is.
just going after anything. She makes the first move, climbs on top of him, starts kissing him. They start getting jiggy. And he's horrible. Like,
Oh,
I don't know if this was his first time, but like he's fumbling around, like his hands are shaking as
yeah.
he's like touching her, and he has trouble putting the condom on. She has to help him twice. Like this guy's selling, man.
I know. He's lucky she's all into it, else he would have fumbled that.
Yeah, yeah. Like it must have been because she kind of wants to use him, like
Yeah.
for like the cat sitter, right?
Yeah.
Because yeah, if not, she just met the guy. I mean, they had drinks the night before, and it seemed like
Mhm.
that went well. So there was at least that. Oh, and I forgot to mention when they were having drinks, she was doing this weird mime shit.
Oh, yeah, the pantomiming. Yeah.
Yeah, she was doing this weird, like eating an orange that wasn't there, and like
Yeah.
again for like a basically a first date, I guess. Like she's just weird, man.
Well, the thing is they do know each other they said they lived in the same village, so I guess there's somewhat
True.
of
Yeah.
a knowing there. It's not like a complete stranger. But no, she is pretty, like, openly just, like, strange doing the
Yeah.
pantomiming and
And we see it as we go through the movie. She gets even
oh,
stranger.
very stranger.
Yeah,
Much
but
stranger.
so yeah, they hook up, and we don't actually meet the cat. She talks
Yeah.
about the cat and
Mhm.
it says he's here. He gets nervous around strangers, so he doesn't come out. But we don't actually see the cat.
No.
So that was my first kind of like, I mean, I knew it was a mystery movie going in, and not
Mhm.
seeing the cat, I was like, is it a real cat? And she's super weird. I was like, is this real? I don't know.
No, I had the exact same
Um,
thought too. I was like, "Is it
yeah,
even like, is the cat even there?" Like, because he even
right.
questions it too. It's like an imaginary cat. She's like, "Oh, you think?" And I was with it too. I was like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Look at her, man, just telling you to come over for a cat. There's no cat just so she can get freaky."
Yeah. Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought
That's
she was
just
just
her
playing a
shooting her shot.
moves. Yeah, I thought she was just playing moves.
Using the fake cat to, yeah, exactly.
One thing,
But
it's not like a significant thing, but one thing I gotta point out too, which was just strange to me, and we get more on that later, is just like as they were actually doing it, he was kind of like looking around the room, and then he kind of like locks eyes with the Seoul Tower. I was like, we get more on
yeah,
that later.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's where that's where she says the reflection of the sunlight comes in. So he's
Yeah,
really noticing sunlight. Yeah, which is odd too, but you're right. We'll see that shortly as well. A lot of weird stuff in this movie, and
yeah,
honestly, a lot of it I didn't understand, and maybe you'll have some explanations for me
yeah.
as we get through it. But yeah, there was a lot of weird stuff in this movie that I didn't even think needed to be there. I'll say it now. I did
Okay,
this movie. There was a lot of things that I liked, a lot of things that I didn't like, and like I said,
yeah,
there was some weird stuff that I just felt added nothing to the story.
yeah.
Made it feel a little bit slower.
Mhm,
Um, didn't It didn't do anything for any the characters or advancing plot or progressing with a theme or anything really. Not that I
mhm.
noticed, anyways. But
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about the just in general kind of the weirdness of this movie?
I agreed with you on my first watching, but as I like went through like a deep dive on like trying to find the symbolism, like I listened to like interviews and stuff like that, like Hey Malik Tiff and stuff. some of the stuff, so which I'm curious to see. Maybe one of the things that you'd understand, maybe I'll be like, oh well,
Yeah, I hope
apparently
so.
this. But there is just a lot of weird stuff in it also too. So I don't know. I don't think everything has explanation.
No, I think yeah, some things he just wanted in there for his own sicko mind, maybe. I don't know. Um, so Jong-soo, after this, we see him arrive on the bus at his family farmhouse.
Yeah.
So he had said to Hey Me that his father was taking care of the house, but he's in some legal trouble and he can't be at home, so he has to go and take care of the farm. So he arrives at the farm, and he keeps getting calls on the phone, and it
Mhm.
happens throughout the movie that the phone rings and he answers and there's no one there, and then it cuts and he hangs up.
Yeah.
And this is one of those things. This isn't a super weird thing. Like, this
Yeah.
can happen in a movie. It's whatever. But at the end of the movie, there's no payoff. Like,
Yeah.
who is that on the phone, and why are
Mhm.
they call like they make it very clear when they're doing these phone calls that they have many of them throughout the movie, specific shots of him answering the phone. In one later on, he even gets frustrated, says, like, why are you calling me just to say
Yeah.
nothing? And
Mhm.
so, but that whole part of the movie, there's nothing at the end explaining who it is or why it's happening. And I don't know, I didn't love that.
Yeah, I mean,
Was
that's
that one of the
there's
things,
no, that's not one of the things. My whole thought process was that it was his dad, and like,
Mm,
cause like they talk about like how his dad's so prideful, and then like maybe that was like a thing of like his dad was trying to call. This is just me just speculating
yeah,
that his dad was trying to call him, and every time he was like about to, he's like his pride got to the best of him, and he's just like, we're just like, nah, I can't. Like, maybe he's wanting to
maybe
apologize
apologize
to his
to us.
son for everything, but he's just like every time he answers, he just like because the Lord somehow prideful he is. That's just me reaching. I don't know if that actually is a thing, and I didn't see anything about that. That was just what I was assuming it was his dad every single time.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. I have literally no idea. And
Yeah,
I, I like when movies have stuff that keeps you guessing, and
yeah,
you don't have to tell me everything about a movie, but something like that just we both watch the movie very detailed, because we're
yeah,
you know we're doing it for the podcast,
yeah,
and we still can't figure it out. Not that we're the biggest movie experts in the
yeah,
world, but like, I don't know. I feel like adding stuff like that into a movie that your general audience has no idea what it's for, I think it's a little too much in my opinion.
yeah. I got you.
So he gets to the house. There's all these phone calls. He's going through the house. We see him unlock a cabinet with a whole bunch of knives in it,
Mhm.
and I thought that was a precursor to that. Oh shoot, we're gonna see some shit go down in this house, and we're gonna
Yeah,
come back and see these knives. That never happens. Uh, but so the next shot we get, he goes to back to her apartment again, and he feeds the cat.
Mm.
So we see that there's actually like poop in the litter box.
Mhm.
So we're like, okay, so there is a cat.
Yeah,
We still haven't seen it yet.
we
It
haven't
still
seen
doesn't
it
come
yet.
out, but we're like, okay, so there is a cat.
Mhm.
Um, and this is when, yeah, what we were talking about. He's looking up at the
The Soul
tower,
Tower.
and he starts jacking off. Wha- Yeah. So I mean, I guess, like last time he was there, he got down.
Yeah,
So maybe it was on his mind, but again, so weird. And there's no reason for this. Like, this
yeah,
doesn't add anything to his character. I guess it shows that he's, I don't know what it shows, honestly. Like, this happens again multiple times through the movie. He goes back here and he starts masturbating, and
mhm.
I just don't get it. Why is that in the movie?
For like at least in this scene, it almost feels like there's somewhat of like a tying it to her because he looks at a picture for a second. And he's looking at the picture. He's like, last time I was here, like you said, picture of her, Soul Tower. I was looking at it last time she was here. That's just like him trying to like keep it all in his head, the whole
Yeah, yeah. I
scenario that
don't know.
was happening last
I
time.
I would have liked for like the cat to jump out at some point, like while he's doing that, and
That
like,
would have been good.
he falls over. What's up, everyone? Scott here. Unfortunately, we had a little bit of a technical difficulty and lost a couple minutes of the episode, but no worries. I'll just fill you in kind of on what we were going over. After this scene, we see Jong-soo in court, and he's seeing his dad through the court proceedings, and they're explaining that his dad's in there for assaulting an officer. And then right after that, the lawyer and Jong-soo have a conversation, and the lawyer is saying that because it's something minor, really just a quick apology letter is all really that's necessary, and the charges would likely be dropped. But he mentions how his dad has too much pride to write that letter, and he's having the conversation with Jung-soo to try and talk to his dad to help him and convince him to write this letter. So that's all that we missed in the episode. We're gonna get right back into it. Thanks again for listening. Here we go. And because it was a minor thing, and the lawyer thinks that with just a simple apology, basically the charges would be dropped and it wouldn't be a big deal. But his dad refuses, and the lawyer tries to get Jong-soo to talk to his dad into writing an apology and clearing all this up.
Yeah, he still thinks his dad's not gonna have. He's like, you're talking to the lawyer, and the lawyer, he's like, you don't know my dad, yo. He's still not gonna.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter what I
which is
say.
so dumb. Like, he's facing
is.
jail time. You're not gonna write an apology? Like, dude, even if you're not sorry, just do the letter. It's really not that deep.
It really isn't that tough. It's not that hard.
Even if
Like, you
you're
don't have
not
to mean
actually
it.
sorry. Yeah, that's what I mean, bro. Just write a letter. It's not that hard. And to avoid jail time, like,
That's
who's going to jail for their pride? Be like, nope, I'm not sorry. I don't care. I'll go to jail for that. So we see Jong-soo next. He goes back to the apartment again,
Mhm.
feeds the cat again, masturbates again. And as he's doing that, Hae-mi calls him.
Yeah, she
So he gets a
interrupts.
call from her, and she says she's coming home tomorrow from her Africa trip. There was a bombing near the airport that she was in
In Kenya.
Kenya, and she was stuck in the airport for 3 days. And tomorrow she'll be coming home. So next we see them, Jong-soo at the airport. He goes to pick her up, and this is when we meet Ben.
Yeah.
So Hae-mi comes to Jong-soo. They say hello, and then Ben comes right behind her, and Hae-mi says, "Hey, this is Ben. You know, this was the only other Korean guy in the airport while we were stuck, and we became friends, and we came back together, and now we're all gonna go hang out."
Yeah.
So
And you
this
could see the
was
disappointment on
yeah,
Jung-soo's face. He's like, ah, shit.
yeah. He's like, "Oh man, like we just hooked up after you left. We had a nice date. I thought we were feeling each other, and now you brought this guy home. Oh, what? Damn! I was masturbating in your room and everything. What did I do wrong? What else could I have done? I fed your
Mid-call,
cat.
too. I didn't even let go
Yeah.
of my stuff.
Do you think he finished?
The mystery.
Do you think he hung up the phone, finished what he was doing, and then? I mean, it was
Maybe.
she said she was going to the airport tomorrow, so it's not like
Yeah,
he had
that's
to
true.
rush.
No.
I feel like he probably. but we don't know yet. That's
No.
the first mystery of the movie. So yeah, we meet Ben. The three of them, they go to get some food, and she's telling them about her trip. And Ben's being really weird
Mhm.
and secretive about his work and just kind of who he is, because this is Jong-soo's first time meeting him. So he's saying, "What do you do for work? Why, like, what was your trip in Africa like? Blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And yeah, Ben's just being super weird and creepy. So this was, again, knowing this was like a mystery thriller, this was our first indication. Okay, like, this is a weirdo, and we got to see what this guy's doing. He's gonna be doing some shady shit behind the scenes, and we got to figure that out.
100%. And Ben is basically Barney Stinson because he tasks him what he does for his living, and he's just like, "Yeah, please, I play." It's like, okay,
That's funny. Yeah, yeah, you're right.
yeah.
He says I play. He doesn't actually do anything.
And he also says, like, you wouldn't understand even if I told you. What kind of job could you not tell someone and they couldn't understand it? Even if you do complicated things, what could
Yeah.
it possibly be?
Well, I think this is the indication, because we find out later what he does,
Yeah,
not for work, but we find out, like, what he's been doing.
yeah,
And I think that's what he means. He's like, even if I told you about what I
yeah.
do,
I guess that's true.
because maybe I don't actually remember this, but maybe Jong-soo said, "What do you do?" Not "What do you do for work?"
No, he
So
asked him what he do for
maybe,
work.
oh,
Yeah,
never mind.
that's why I was like, damn, instead I said you won't even understand. It's like how
Yeah,
little belittle you think of Jong-soo.
yeah. I mean, I think it's as we go through the movie, I think it's quite clear that Ben kind of has this classism,
Oh,
where
100%.
he doesn't feel like the lower classes are up to his level, and he doesn't really respect them. So I think that's maybe the first indication of that part of his character. But you're right, it's pretty damn disrespectful just to say it outright. Like, even if I told you what I was doing, your stupid monkey brain wouldn't understand it, which is
Basically,
crazy.
in so many words. That was the
Yeah.
translation.
But yeah,
They
you're
didn't
right.
translate it
That's
properly.
what it said on the subtitle on the
Yeah,
Netflix.
exactly.
I don't know what your screen said, but that's what
Okay, I
mine
guess I
said.
did a different one.
Yeah, I guess so.
I also got to point out too that this is the second time that Hey Me has strategically fallen asleep when the bell comes around,
Oh, good point.
and
Yeah,
Ben
you're
thinks
right.
it's
She does it
cute.
on
I'm
that
like, that's
first
not cute.
date. Yeah, that was yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, the first date she falls asleep, and we don't even see exactly how that ends up. Like
No,
Jong-soo just kind of goes and sits beside her, and then the scene ends. But I'm sure he just kind of hung out and woke her up later.
yeah.
In this one, Jong-soo wakes her up. But you're right. It's every time it's when they're eating, the bill comes around. Like, she
Ben thinks it's cute. I'm like, nah, that's not cute. She knows what she's doing. Yeah,
she knows what she's
she
doing. Yeah,
knows what she's
exactly.
doing.
Just like when she was inviting Jong-soo to come feed her cat, she knew what she was doing.
Yeah, he fed her cat, all right.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so when they're leaving the restaurant, this is when Ben, his boy comes, says
Yeah,
what's up, and drops off a Porsche.
hmm
So we're like, okay, so Ben's
yeah,
like that.
yeah. He is like
Ben's
that.
like that. Okay. And Ben takes her home. So because Jong-soo has like a truck because from the farm, right? So it's like
Yeah.
a working truck. So it's a little beat up, but it gets the job done. So this is where they were, where they picked them up from the airport. They were at the food, and he gives Hey Me her suitcase, and she takes it into Ben's whip,
Mhm.
and Ben's just stunting on Jong-soo, like pulls up, says, you wouldn't even understand what I do for work. They pull out outside of the restaurant. He's got a Porsche. Jung-soo's got his little truck, and Hey Me's like at least pauses for a moment to like consider going home with Jung-soo, but no, she's gonna go in
Yeah.
the
I
Porsche.
mean, that's a little bit on him though. He doesn't even protest. Like he's just like, yeah, yeah, go on with it. I got a long way to go anyway. Nah, nah, that's your girl,
Yeah.
dog.
He's a
Show some
simp,
backbone. He
man.
is a simp. Have some
Yeah.
backbone, yo. That's your girl.
Yeah, well, that's what he thought was his girl, and then Ben stole her in the airport in Kenya. But I mean, hey, you got to be confident, man. When you're in these interactions, you got to be confident. Even if
That's,
you don't have a Porsche, you got to be confident.
that's what I'm saying. That's a lesson to all our
Yeah,
listeners.
yeah,
Don't be a
exactly. Be
Jong-soo.
confident. Don't be a Jong-soo. Don't be a Ben either. He is a weirdo, but like
Yeah.
a nice little middle ground. That's what we're looking for. Um, so we see Jong-soo next back at the house, at the farmhouse, and he's writing a letter for his dad. Or actually for his neighbor.
Yeah.
So he's writing it from the point of view of his neighbor, saying his dad was a super nice guy, and he was just a character reference
hmm
basically. And he brings the letter over to his neighbor, tries to get him to sign it, and he does kind of reluctantly because he's
hmm
like, this says that your dad was a nice guy, and he's not.
Yeah,
He's like, I'll
straight up.
sign it. Like, it's not a big deal, but like, your dad's a dick.
Yeah, he had to throw that in there. He's like, I'll sign it, but
Yeah.
this isn't your dad. I hope you know that.
Yeah,
And he's like, I
exactly.
know. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know, but hey, just please sign it. And he's like, yeah, sure, whatever. But that's what I mean. This is what this guy did. He doesn't believe what's on the letter, but he's like, yeah, whatever, I'll sign it.
Yeah.
His dad won't do that for the freaking apology note. Like, dude,
Yeah, I know.
you're gonna go to jail for this? That isn't even, what the hell?
That's some
How
crazy pride,
stupid is
man.
that?
That's some crazy pride.
Okay, and then Hey Me calls Jong-soo, invites him to a restaurant. So he meets them there. and he's upset again when he pulls up and Ben is there.
Yeah.
He pulls up. He's like, okay, I got the call back. She wants the second date. Nice. Pulls up, and it's Ben, and he's like, man,
Yeah,
I mean, what do you expect?
why does she do him like that? Like he's like, "Oh, is somebody else here?" And she points. Like, why don't you just say it's gonna be the three of us? Like, why just, oh yeah, come up, pull up, and then Ben's there, and it's like, wait, what?
Again, Dion, she knows what she's
Yeah,
doing,
she doesn't know what
dude.
she's doing.
If she tells him Ben's there, is he gonna show up?
Probably
If
not.
you
And
get
he
a
was
call from a girl, be like, yeah, I'm here at a restaurant with a guy with a Porsche that I left you last time with. You want to come hang out?
no, that's true.
Nah, I'm good.
It's true. And the worst part is that Jong-soo is feeling himself too. I don't know if you really remember, like when he was going in, he stops, looks himself in the mirror, fixes his hair, makes sure the
Yeah,
shirt's all
yeah,
nice and everything.
yeah.
He's like, all right. And then he
Yeah.
realized, like, he sees the second cup of the teacup. He's like, yo,
He's like, God damn it. Yeah, hey, but you're right. He was feeling a little confident at that moment, and then it all died when he saw Ben. But you're right. Like he was preparing for his date, feeling nice. He's like, yeah, I got the call back. Um, but when we go in the restaurant, yeah, Ben's there, and he's reading her palm, doing magic
oh
tricks.
yeah,
Like they're super flirty with each other, and Jung-soo's just kind of sitting there. Poor guy,
heated,
man.
heated.
Yeah, yeah, he was. You know that meme of the guy like crying, super angry, and he has a
Oh,
face mask with a smiley
that
face.
was-
That was definitely him, man. He was hurting behind that smile, but I mean, it's his own fault.
it is.
It's his own fault. I mean, Ben, like I said, has been stunting on him at this point, but maybe he should just throw hands. You know what I
Honestly,
mean? Like, all the money in the world is not gonna protect you from these hands, bro. And and he's working on a farm, so he's probably strong.
oh,
Like
100%.
he should just whoop his ass.
I'd be still on that thing he said back at the other place where he says I wouldn't understand what he does. I'd still be holding on to
Facts.
that.
Yeah. He should have swung on him right then.
Yeah.
Oh, word?
I'll tell you what
Oh, word? I wouldn't
you'll
understand?
understand. These
Yeah.
hands.
Exactly. That's what Jong-soo should have done. That would have got Hey Me, guaranteed.
Right now we're rewriting the American version of this, the North American
Yes.
version. Our
Yeah, we should make
adaptation.
our own adaptation based on a movie, and we'll do it ourselves. 100%. So, but Jong-soo gets the girl.
Yeah,
But then the
exactly.
movie would just kind of be over at that
Yeah,
point,
no, that's true.
unless Ben comes for him.
We'll do little tweaks. We'll just tweak a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. We'll make some tweaks. Okay, yeah. We'll get to the planning on this. I like it though. So we see where they go to Ben's house. So they were at this restaurant, and they said, "Do you like pasta?" Ben's gonna make us some pasta.
Mhm.
So we're at Ben's house, and it's a super nice apartment building. He's got beautiful kitchen, furniture, everything. He's still stunting on Jong-soo. Like this is all like basically they invited him here to show him his house just to flex on him some more. Like Ben is just beating the brakes off of this guy nonstop, just showing him up left, right, and center. So Jung-soo goes to the bathroom, and he opens like a cabinet in there. And this is
Mhm.
when he sees a box, and he opens it up, and it's makeup. And then he opens up a drawer, and there's like women's jewelry in it. And so we're kind of like, okay, what's going on here? Does this mean Ben has a girl that
Yeah.
lives with him, or like what's, I don't know,
Yeah,
just
what's the whole
more
situation?
weird stuff about Ben. Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you thinking at this point?
No, I mean, we didn't even mention it too, but like the first weird thing that said was like when Hamey was crying and he said that's interesting. Like I never shed any tears. As soon as he said that, I was like, okay, this dude's a freaking weirdo.
Yeah.
Like I don't like, and then the honestly the jewelry thing like was my first viewing because like I said I watched it twice, but I didn't really like make much of it. Like I kind of thought it was weird. Like I honestly didn't even think he had a girl. I just saw that stuff then I was like, I don't know if like what this dude's deal is. Like I don't know what this stuff is. That like I just didn't know what to think.
Yeah, and we still don't know what he does for a living.
Yeah.
Even if he told us, we wouldn't
Yeah,
understand.
exactly.
But so we still don't know how he's so rich.
Yeah.
And then we assume he's single. I guess he never says it out loud, but we
Yeah.
assume he's single. And when he goes to the house, he's there's no one else there.
Hmm.
So we assume he lives alone. So I was like, why does this guy have makeup?
Yeah.
Why does this guy have jewelry? I just um but this is good. These are little hints I feel like that keep you guessing throughout the
Yeah.
movie, keep you engaged as we're trying to figure out this mystery, just inserting little clues here and there. And that was good. I like that. Um and then they're outside on the patio. Jong-soo and Hae-mi are smoking, and while Ben's inside, and Jong-soo is saying to Hae-mi basically what we've been saying, that Ben's weird. You know, he's skeptical of Ben and what he does and who he is. He even compares him to Gatsby
Yeah.
from The Great Gatsby. You know, saying he's a rich guy that no one really knows too much about, and he's going after this girl. So I could see that
Yeah.
parallel.
I
It
can see
was,
that comparison. Yeah.
especially as an aspiring writer. You know, he talks about authors too, so
Yeah.
it's clear that he reads a lot of books.
Mhm.
So I thought that was cool, that little comparison to the two.
No, for sure. And then it implies also that he does something illegal, probably. I mean, the Gatsby's came off of doing illegal stuff, like selling alcohol during the prohibition. So he's like, he thinks he's shady. It's a little added extra part of it saying he's rich and young, but he's also probably from something weird.
Yeah, yeah, good point. So they go to a restaurant again. They're going out all the time. They're
Yeah,
having
I
a good
know.
time. So they hit up a restaurant with some of Ben's friends. So we meet a few of his inner circle. They're all dripped out, and
Oh
it's a
yeah,
nice restaurant. So I again, this is they're kind of in an upper class. We're led to believe, at
yeah,
least. So I think this is more. I keep looking for a better word, but it's just stunting. Like he's
yeah.
just stunting on Jong-soo. Like
That's a good
it's
word.
yeah, it's more of him just bringing him to all, showing him the way he lives,
Hmm.
and knowing that Jung-soo doesn't live like this. But yeah, Ben's just being an ass to Jung-soo, showing him up all the time. They're hanging out with Ben's friends, and Hae-mi's telling a story about her trip in Africa. She's doing a dance that she learned,
Mhm.
and all of Ben's friends are kind of giving her like the side eye, like
Yeah,
they're not feeling the story. But again, I think he kind of brings them there to make fun of them.
yeah, 100%.
You know, I think that him and his friends are all there, like kind of laughing at the lower class people, and she's telling this story, and they're just kind of laughing at her, not with her.
Yeah, they're not pretending to show interest too. They're kind of like,
No,
oh, cool. They're like, oh, there's a dance. Oh, show us the dance. That's when they all kind of spark up. Like, yeah, show us that dance.
yeah, exactly. Because that's what I mean. I think they're making fun of it. It's like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, show us the dance so we
yeah.
can, yeah. So I thought that was funny. So then we see next Jong-soo. He's back at the farm. He's working, and Hae-mi calls him. They're saying that her and Ben are coming by,
Hmm.
which is crazy. She
That
doesn't
is,
even ask. She's just like, "Hey, we're coming.
yeah, we're in the
We'll be
area.
there soon." Yeah, Ben wants to see where I'm from, and we're coming. Get ready.
It's like, damn, all right. Like maybe I was gonna step out.
Yeah, but oh, yeah. So they show up. They're chilling. They're drinking wine outside, and Ben pulls out some weed.
Ooh,
He's like, "You
my
guys want to
good
smoke some marijuana?" Which is illegal in South
in
Korea.
South Korea. Yeah.
But so so they're smoking weed. Jong-soo coughs up a lung again. Just Ben like takes it back, and he's cool with it. Amy's cool with it, and Jung-soo starts coughing up a lung. Like, come on, dude, you're folding in every aspect. Like, you gotta hold it in, man.
Oh man, he's yeah, and it's yeah, and Ben just cool as a cucumber. Just yeah, after he
Exactly.
takes it back, he's just like a rookie. It's like shit, man. Why you just stunting on? It's funny. I didn't even really think about all these instances of stunting on Jong-soo. I thought, but when you compile it the way you're compiling it, oh my god, this is a stunt fest, man.
It's nonstop. It's
I look at
nonstop,
it as
and
more as like him just trying to impress a high me. I didn't really think about the stunning part, but it's a mix of both.
Yeah, yeah,
He's doing
I
both
think
at the
it.
same time.
I think it is a mix. Well, I think we're led to believe it's a mix of both. I think we
Yeah.
learn later on that it's not.
Mhm.
But honestly, even now that you mention it, kind of as we're going through and I'm mentioning them, I'm kind of seeing things and explaining kind of things that I think I missed. Not missed, but like I didn't put two and two together
Yeah.
throughout the movie. And we'll talk as we get to the conclusion. I'll kind of mention what I mean because I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil. But um, yeah, I think I'm actually understanding a little more now as we're going through it. So
Yeah.
cool.
One
Let's
other
do
thing
it.
too I want to mention too is that she tells like the whole well story too, which again is another thing of like it kind of makes Jong-soo feel like he ain't shit because she says like, yeah, remember I fell into a well and you saved me and you don't even remember, and he's kind of like, shit, yeah, I don't remember. So
Yeah.
not only did he call her really ugly, this man saved her from a well and he doesn't remember. So
Yeah, you remember when you saved that ugly little runt from the well?
he's like, I tried to forget about that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Should have left
He
her
was
as
super ugly. Or what did he say? Not super.
really. He just
What
said
was
you
it?
really
Really
ugly.
ugly. Damn, that's crazy. Um, so Hamey then takes her shirt off and
Mhm.
starts doing these like bird gestures and starts doing
Yeah.
this slow dancing. I guess she's high,
Yeah.
and the dance I wrote this down. It was kind of like the Joker.
That's exactly what I wrote too.
Okay, yeah. In the
Yeah.
bathroom when he's like doing that slow,
Yeah.
um, melodic movement, just kind of
Yeah. No,
dancing with the
100%.
with the flow. And this was actually a really great shot.
Oh, yeah, with the
Uh,
sunset and everything was
yeah,
crazy.
the sunset, and it's a really long take. Like she takes her shirt off, she's doing these bird gestures and she's dancing, and the camera's kind of moving around her as she's doing it, kind of keeping that like fluid motion, I feel like.
Mhm.
And then it comes off of her and goes up into a tree as the sun's setting, like you said, and it looks amazing.
Oh,
This is a great like
yeah. No,
it's a
100%.
long take. It's maybe like a whole minute, and
Yeah.
it's great. I love it.
No, no, I agree too. It was one of those things too where like actually, no, I don't wanna say. I'll talk about that later. I'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But no,
So
it was interesting. It was interesting, shot.
yeah, I liked it a lot, and I'll actually mention it now
Okay, go.
in my research. The facts in this scene, because they're not done here. Like they stay outside for a bit,
Yeah.
but in this scene, like you said, the sun's going down, so they shot this scene over months
Oh,
because they
really?
can only shoot for a few minutes each day to get the
Ah,
perfect
okay.
lighting. Like as this, because the sun, as it starts to set, it goes fast.
Yeah.
So they would only shoot for a couple minutes a day to get the perfect lighting for each part of the,
Mm.
because it's a long scene. Like it
Yeah.
starts, like when they arrive, the sun is up, and then
Mhm.
when they leave, it's completely dark, and we see them sitting outside, and there's different stages of the sun setting.
Yeah.
So it's kind of explaining the showing the time passing as they're outside drinking, smoking, hanging out. Um, but yeah, so this was a month or two or a couple months worth of shooting just for it's a long scene, but still
Yeah.
just one scene.
Mhm. That was interesting. I actually
So
didn't realize. I didn't see that. That's crazy.
yeah,
It makes sense though, because like you said with the whole sunset thing.
and the lighting is awesome
Oh, yeah.
in this scene. Like it's the twilight. It comes off the mountains, and we're in the farm, right? So we get wide shots of the landscape, and it's beautiful at this point. So they carry her inside. So I guess she gets too high.
Yeah.
So or I guess because she's been falling asleep,
Yeah,
but
all the time. There's no
all
bill,
the
mate.
yeah, I
There's
was
no
about to
bill. You
say
don't
there's
have
no
to
bill.
you don't gotta pretend.
So they carry her inside, lie her down on the couch, and it's just Jong-soo and Ben now chilling outside.
Mhm.
And this is when Jung-soo kind of opens up a little bit. He tells Ben that he hates his father
Mhm.
for his anger, and that his mom left because of it. Basically
Yeah.
saying, his dad was angry all the time and would blow up. This is, I guess, why he assaulted an officer, and his
Yeah.
neighbor said he's an asshole. So Yeah, he said he hates that part of his about his father, and that's why his mom left when he was young. So we learned that about Jong-soo. And then Ben tells Jong-soo that he burns down greenhouses every couple months.
Mhm.
And Jung-soo's like, "What the fuck? Like, why? Wh- Why? What
Yeah.
the hell are you? Wait, seriously?" um, and he's like, "Yeah, man. It feels great. I got to do it just to keep my sanity. Every couple months, I burn one down. I find an abandoned uh
Greenhouse.
greenhouse that he says Korea's full of them. I find one and I burn it down, and it's a victimless crime. It's not a big deal, and I feel good. So he says that the reason he came out to the farm was to scout to find his next one. And he said he's gonna burn one down soon because Jung-soo asked when's the last time he did it. He said, "Oh, before Korea, which was a couple, or before Africa, which was a couple months ago. So I guess I'm due for one." And he says he's gonna burn one down very, very close by.
Mhm.
So very again, he's been really weird and mysterious throughout the movie. Then he says, "Yeah, I'm gonna burn one down very, very close by." And I was like, okay, this is something.
Yeah.
I still didn't know. I was like, okay, I don't know what it is, which is good. I like that I'm still guessing, but I was like, there's something here.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I was thinking the same thing too. Because as he was going through it, he's talking about like, "Oh, I once every 2 months, whatever it is," and this is when I was starting to feel like, "Oh, it's, like, starting to pick up," because, again, I don't mind slow burns, like, I'm someone that, like, really that enjoyed Breaking Bad, and it's a crazy slow burn. There's a lot of shows are slow, but it's a movie, it's a little different, but I don't mind
Mhm.
a slow burn, but, like, this conversation between the 2 of them, when I was like, "Okay, this movie's it's starting to change a little bit." Now Ben's opening up. He's really weird. We're getting a little
Yeah.
more about, like, what's going on here, and, like, a lot of the things he said in this, like, are things that we use as reference later on throughout the movie, and I'm like, "Okay, this,
Yeah, this is definitely a really important scene for both of their characters
yeah,
and for the movie in general, like you said, because as an audience, we're starting to learn. Like we've already known Ben is weird and creepy,
yeah,
but he's starting to open up, and we're starting to understand. Okay, like just just what he means or kind of what the creepiness, what's underneath. And I mean, he's right. I guess if that's what he said, that's what he's doing. And I still didn't understand it. So even though he told me I didn't understand, we're seeing what's underneath kind of the mystery to Ben. And they're starting to open up. So we're starting to see a lot in this scene between the two characters. And even Jung-soo opens up a little bit, like talking about his relationship with his dad and letting us know that his mom's not in the picture. So we actually get a lot in this scene. And it's like I said, it looks amazing. So I like this scene a lot.
oh, no, me too, and, honestly, I thought it was wild too, because like, to hear that Jong-su's dad had an anger issue, and the mom just dipped on the whole family.
Yeah,
When
that's kind
when
of
he even
crazy.
said that, I was kinda like, "That's crazy." Usually you'd think it's like, "Dad, get the heck out of here. I'm taking the kids with me." She just said deuces to the whole family. That's
That's a good point.
crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
That is weird.
like,
It's
the
normally the
dad's the
opposite.
issue, and you're gonna leave the kids.
True. Yeah, yeah, he's got the anger issue. You don't want to leave the kid. Yeah, facts. I guess we're learning, yeah, that Jung-soo had a tough childhood, but you're right. That's
Yeah.
that's not a good choice by the mom.
No, we also kinda learned that, like, Ben almost has, like, a god complex. Like, the way he's talking about, like, nature and all these things, like, he's acting like that quote he said about, like, the rain and everything, like, he's acting like he is nature. And, like, him talking about, like, him burning the greenhouses is just the same thing as, like, a rain coming down and washing away things. It's like,
Yeah.
this is just the way of nature, it's life. I'm like, "Dog, you relax." Like, you're making these decisions. Like, you're doing these things. It's not just part of your nature. It's not
But I don't know.
but he has, like, that.
Yeah, I think he feels that again, like that's his, I guess the classism, right? Like because he's
Yeah,
rich, he feels like the world is his and he could do whatever he wants. And but you're right,
yeah,
like that's not necessarily the same thing because he's not saying he's doing what he wants. He's saying it's just the way it is, and I'm just acting through
yeah.
God or something. Yeah, you're right. That is weird. And then Jung Soo actually tells Ben that he loves Haimi.
Ugh,
He's like, "No, I love Haimi," and Ben just kind of
and he
laughs at him.
laughs.
Yeah, like Jung Soo is just getting bitched throughout this whole movie,
Oh my
and Ben is just killing him. I
I
mean,
was a
and
little cheesed though that like he says he loves this girl. I'm like, bro, you called her really ugly, and like, yeah, you like you clapped, but then you also didn't remember her. So like, how do you love her?
and
That's a simp.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a simp, like through and through. But also, like, when you since you've come back, she hasn't shown any of that love or any of those feelings that
No,
before they left, right? They didn't have a date again. Like Ben's been there every time that they've hung out so far. So
yeah,
you're falling for this girl, really? Because she let you hit once? Come on, Jong-soo.
man, come on, Jong, don't be a Jong-soo.
Don't be a
He's a
Jong-soo.
new verb for this podcast.
Yeah?
Don't
Be
be a Jong-soo.
yeah. Yeah, don't Jong-soo all over the here. Like, have a backbone. Don't Jong-soo. So Ben and Haimi leave, and Jung-soo calls Haimi a whore
Oh my
for
goodness, no
for
game.
yeah, seriously. You just said you're in love with this girl. You're like, you're a whore. You undress in undress in front of men so easily, right? Because she took her shirt off and she was dancing. You're as she's getting in the whip, and you're gonna send her off with that? Horrible game. Jung-soo is trash.
Don't be a Jong-soo.
Don't be a Jung-soo. Okay, and then we get a quick little flashback, or I'm not sure if it's a flashback. I think it is. But it's a quick little shot of a kid watching a greenhouse burn down.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be Ben, like when he was a kid, he saw that, or if it's supposed to be Jung-soo and he had seen that at some point and he was remembering it because Ben brought it up. I wasn't actually sure.
Oh well, I thought it was Jong-soo because he talked about how he burned when he died. How he said he burned his mom's clothes, and
Oh
then
yeah.
that he always had dreams about it. And then the next scene is him waking up.
So
So
it's a
I assumed that was
dream.
just the dream he was talking about.
Oh, I think you're probably right. That
Yeah,
makes
that's what I
sense.
assumed.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You're probably right. Because then, yeah, like you said, he wakes up and he grabs a lighter and he's kind of we see him look at it for a few seconds. So I guess he's maybe pondering, thinking of lighting a greenhouse himself. That's what I thought in this moment. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe he's thinking of doing it himself. I wasn't sure why, but yeah, they were talking about it the night before, and like you said, he mentioned that he has these dreams.
Mhm.
So and then he goes to a job interview. So it's been communicated in the movie too that the unemployment rate for young people in South Korea has been really high. So it's tough for people to find jobs.
Yeah.
So he's at a job interview at like a warehouse or something,
Yeah.
and he walks out of the job interview. Like there's a
Mhm.
few people lined up, and they're asking them where they live, how they're gonna get to work, blah blah blah, and they ask him, and he just dips, and they're like, all right, and then they move on to the next
Yeah.
person because there's so many people looking for a job, right? So
Yeah,
they didn't even
exactly.
care.
Like, forget this
So
guy.
he walks out, and we see there's a few shots of him looking at greenhouses. Like as he's driving or back to the farm, I guess he's looking at
Mhm.
greenhouses, and he even stops at one, and he examines it. I guess he even opens the door, looks inside. So we just get him looking at greenhouses around the
Yeah.
area, and I think I'm not actually sure if it was at this point, but we see him pull out a map and start like marking them down, like
Oh, yeah,
marking
yeah.
because Ben says that he's gonna burn one down very, very close by. So he was looking at the ones in his area that are abandoned, and he marks them down on a map. He then gets a call from Hey Me, and it just has background noise.
Yeah. Like, you hear
It's like
yelling,
a
you hear walking, like, you hear
yeah, so it's I wasn't sure, like, is this a pocket dial, or
Yeah.
is she in trouble and she just like called him on the phone and left it in her pocket so he would know something was up, or we don't really know for sure, but he I guess thinks it's the latter because he goes to her house to check on her,
Mhm.
and the code changed because it's not a key to the door, it's a
Yeah.
keypad. So he's putting in the code, and he's not getting access to the house, which he had because he was feeding the cat.
Yeah.
So we know again something happened, but we don't know
Yeah.
what. Where was your head at this point?
I mean, yeah, my initial thought was like, "Oh, snap," like something I was thinking something bad happened to her. Like I wasn't on like a thought of like, "Oh, maybe it's just like a butt dial, whatever." I was immediately thinking because like from what I heard, because like again, the first time I didn't really know what I was hearing, but then when I kind of scrolled back, it felt like you kind of hear you just heard yelling like again, just background noise. But then it felt like you heard like a zip, but again, that could be anything. Like
Oh,
I don't
really?
know. Yeah, but that again, what does that mean? Was she
Yeah.
zipping up a bag? Was someone being zipped into a body bag? Like
Hmm.
I don't know. Like it is. What does it even? What does any of that mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's again just another clue to kind of keep us guessing, keep us engaged, which is good. I love when movies do that, like throughout the movie, like
Yeah.
every few scenes, you have to have a little more to advance the story and keep the audience engaged and say, okay, here's another piece of the puzzle, and you can start to put it together yourself. Although this is tough because, like you said, there's not a whole lot there,
Yeah.
but at least it keeps you guessing a little bit.
Yeah.
And so we see a few shots of him, Jong-soo, running in the area. So he's running and he's seeing a bunch of abandoned greenhouses around in his area. He
Mhm.
calls Hey Me, gets no answer. So he goes to her apartment again, and the lady that he saw when he went there the first time, I guess the
Yeah.
building owner, or
Landlord or something.
yeah, the
Yeah.
landlord, um, says that there's no cat. Says that there was
Yeah.
no cat. He's like, "Oh, I was here feeding the cat. I know this person. Can you open the door for me?" And she's like, "No, I can't just open the door for you. Like, this isn't your place." He's like, "No, I was here feeding the cat. I know her." And she's like, "No, this building doesn't allow pets. There was no cat." And I was like, "Huh? Was
Yeah.
there no cat?" I was like, "We saw poop in the litter box."
That's what I was. Yeah, I was like questioning it too. I was like, did she fake poop? But no, it
Yeah,
doesn't make she's
yeah.
gone though. So like, but she's yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that had me guessing too. I was like, okay, so was there no cat? Because we haven't seen it still. We still never
No.
saw the cat, but we just saw the evidence. And he would go and feed it like he would refill the food. So something was
Yeah.
eating the
Exactly.
food. There was poop in the litter box, so there had to be a cat, right? I was like, there must have been a cat.
Yeah.
But that was something I was like, oh shoot, okay, maybe wasn't. Maybe he's hallucinating or something. I have no idea.
I also thought it was funny too because she's like, "There's no cat. I can't let you in," and then like 2 seconds later, she lets him in.
Yeah, exactly. I was just about to say that she lets him in. Um, and this is what we said, like you mentioned before, the room is super clean.
Yeah.
So the room's been cleaned up. The landlord even says, "Oh, maybe she went away on a trip." And he opens a closet or something and sees her suitcase that she had before, and he's like, "No,
Yeah.
she didn't go on no trip." He, Mr. Super Sleuth over here, cracking the
Yeah.
code. Uh,
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, exactly. So we're like, okay, something happened with Hey Me. He goes, Jung-soo goes, he talks to, I think this is her employer. It's another one of those girls in the
Like
uniform that,
cheerleading kind of
yeah, that
outfits
she was in
almost.
at the beginning of the movie when she was
Yeah.
dancing in front of that store. And she says that a lot of the girls have a lot of debt
Mhm.
and they go into hiding, be like to avoid, I guess, the 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 people that are coming to settle the debt.
Yeah.
He actually notices that this girl's wearing the same watch that he had given Hey Me at
Mhm.
the start of the movie, like that he won in that raffle. And we actually see it later at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
so it turns out not to be the same watch. So I guess it's just, I mean, it makes sense, if they're giving these out in a raffle, they're gonna have more than one.
Yeah.
But
No, true.
it was something for the audience to be like, oh, was she involved? Is there some shady shit going on here? Like, he doesn't know, we don't know.
Honestly,
Did
I didn't even realize that watch thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't notice that at all. Like the not the one later. Like I didn't realize that
Oh,
she was like when he was talking to the employee or employer or employee. I didn't
mhm.
realize that she was wearing that same pink watch.
Ah, because there was a little shot of him like noticing it.
Mhm.
So maybe it was yeah, you could have been looking down taking a note or
Yeah, I
something,
guess
but
so. Twice I looked down to take a note. I
well,
didn't.
you didn't notice it later on?
No, no, no. Like I noticed the watch later that it gets found, but I didn't
Okay.
notice like her wearing that watch, like the employee,
Ah,
like the when he was talking to that
huh.
employer.
Yeah, well, yeah, I thought it was meant to I think they threw it in there just kind of to throw off the audience
Yeah,
a little bit, but I just thought it was worth mentioning it. He also then goes to see her mime teacher because, like we said, she was doing this miming. There was a name
the
for it. What
pantomiming.
pantomiming? Yeah.
Yeah,
So he goes to see the teacher, asks him if he's seen Hamey around. He says no. So we see him out for a run again, and he's checking on the greenhouses, and this is when he actually burns a piece of plastic from one.
yeah,
So
just
I
to
guess he
see.
tries it out. Yeah,
Yeah,
he doesn't believe that they can be burned down, or I don't know.
yeah,
He
I
just
don't
wants
know.
to see how it works. So he burns it, and then he's like, "Oh shit!" He pulls it off and like puts it out. We see him in his car, and he follows Ben to a coffee shop.
Yeah,
So he's in his car waiting outside his apartment. Ben comes out of his apartment, drives to a coffee shop. Jong-soo follows him, pulls up into the coffee shop, makes up an excuse for why he's bumping into him.
hmm,
He asks about the greenhouse because he says, "Oh, last time I saw you, you said you were going to burn one down very soon and very, very close. But I haven't seen any because I've been, looking around the ones in my area." And Ben says, yeah, I burned it down without a trace a couple days after he was there. So Jong-soo's like, well, that's weird. Like I've been
yeah,
checking and I
searching.
didn't see any burnt down. So what is this guy talking about?
Hmm. Yeah, that's when it's yeah. The first thing is like, okay, now what are you talking about? It's now it's getting suspicious.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And in my notes, at this point in the movie, like what I had wrote down was he killed Hey Me, but the greenhouse is a metaphor.
Yeah,
Like that's what I was thinking at this point. So I was like, okay, maybe that's what's going down.
that
What
was my
about you?
first inkling because the thing he said after was like, Ben says, maybe you missed it because you were too close, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, what the hell does that mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like, doesn't even
yeah.
make
Ben has
sense
all these
for a
little
greenhouse. If
yeah
you're actually
yeah
talking about a
exactly.
greenhouse, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, you're right. Ben has all these little like one-liners that he throws in. Just yeah, exactly. Like you said, the rain thing. You're like, yeah, I burned down greenhouses. It's just inevitable, like rain. Like he
Yeah,
has all these bars that he throws in, which is kind of wild. But yeah, you were being, but he's so sly with it.
yeah,
Like he's
he's
not even
sly with
trying to
it.
hide how weird he is and how creepy he is. And which when we find out later, like what's going down, like you would think he would want to hide that side of things. He wouldn't want to outwardly be creepy and have people looking
That's
into
what I
him, right?
mean.
Because yeah, because Jong-soo even asks him, he's like, "You never get found out like for burning down these greenhouses?" He's like, "Nope, nope, no, never. The police don't worry about that. There's just a little thing, and then I never get found out."
Yeah, and then even what that he gets even weirder once they leave the shop, and like then like, were you gonna say what he says afterwards? Like, well, I'll just
No,
say
go
it. I
ahead.
mean, like he asked him like, has he been in contact with Hey Me? And he's like, oh, she just disappeared. Like, and
Yep.
I was like, it's interesting because you talk about how the greenhouses just disappear after you burn them. Like, he used the exact same
Yeah.
words. I was like,
And he's
okay,
like smirking, and he's
yeah,
like he's clearly not like worried about it, right? Like Jong-soo's
no,
like, "Oh, she's been missing for like a month. I haven't been able to talk to her. Have you talked to her?" And
yeah.
he's just throwing out these witty little one-liners and smirking like he's clearly doesn't care about Hamey being missing. But so yeah, like being weird about it, I feel like is not a good plan to not get caught, but
No.
hey.
He's so confident though, and then even like, cause Junsui asked him like, "Hey, like, do you think she went on a trip?" He's like, "I doubt it. She's broke. She doesn't have she doesn't have contact with her family. She doesn't have any friends. Like, she's alone. She's lonelier than it seems." And I was like, "Oh snap!" Like,
And she's really ugly.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing he actually does mention though, he says she has bad credit, like bad credit. Like she
Oh
has a
yeah,
lot of debt. So it's like, oh, so now it's like we had that debt thing
yeah.
that
Was
was
she
that debt
disappearing?
theory.
Yeah. Was she running away? Yeah, to avoid the debt collectors. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because we still don't know for sure. Like this was, like I said, what I was thinking in my head at the
Yeah,
time, but we don't
same.
know for sure what's going on.
Yeah, because there's no
So then
evidence. It's just like
exactly.
he's just being creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, and Hamy's missing,
Yeah.
and he's the creepy guy. But at the same time, I'm like, this is a mystery movie, and that seems like it's too easy of a solution, you know?
Yeah.
Like the weird creepy guy kills the girl that's missing, like that seems
Yeah.
too obvious. And this is, a movie that should have a twist in it, so I was like, maybe not. I wasn't sure. So then a woman comes into the coffee shop, and her and Ben leave. And but this is when Jong-soo, yeah, he's asking more questions about Hey Me. And yeah, he's saying like she's been gone for a month. I have you talked to her, blah blah blah, like we were just saying. And Ben says, like you just said, she was broke and didn't have contact with her family or have any friends or whatever. And actually, what I have in my notes right here was to support my theory of Ben killing her and the greenhouse being a metaphor, is that Ben saying she's broke, no contact with her family and no friends. Is she in his head an abandoned warehouse?
Yeah.
Like she's been abandoned by her
Hmm.
family, friends, and everything. So I was like, okay, maybe that's what's going on.
Yeah, it's like a
That's what
metaphor.
I was thinking.
Yeah. I watched I can't remember the name of the anime, but it was like this anime was like a short series, and he talked about how like the only people that he would kill were like loners and stuff, and he had like a metaphor for them, like that. It was like his
Mm,
own like way of looking at them. Like you can't look at them as people. Like no, they're greenhouses. Like these are just broken links. He would call them just
yeah,
broken links. It's like, oh, I just get rid of the broken links. They're just around and they might
yeah,
cause trouble. Let's get rid of them. I'm helping. It's like in his mind, like
right.
him, he's thinking, I'm just getting rid of these unattractive looking. I mean, Jong-soo would agree. Oh yeah, she was ugly as shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly.
But yeah.
So he goes. Jong-soo goes to Haemi's family's restaurant. So he meets her mom and sister that are working at this restaurant, and he doesn't actually say anything. He's just eating, but
Mhm.
they recognize him, and Jung-soo asks about her, about Hae-mi, asking if they've seen her. They say no, and they say she can't come back until she pays off her credit cards. So saying that she's unwelcome and, like Ben said, cut off from her family.
Yeah.
And they even say that the well story isn't true.
Yeah.
So Jung-soo asks about, oh, you remember when Hae-mi fell down that well? And they're like, man, she didn't fall down no well. She's just talking shit. She's just saying stuff.
Basically, yeah, they looked at him like he was
And
crazy.
yeah, exactly. And he's like, oh snap! Like she said, yeah, I saved her from this well, but he didn't remember it.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, was she making that up?
Mhm.
And we don't know at that point. So Jung-soo, we next see him trying to follow Ben again.
Mhm.
So he's parked outside his apartment building. Ben comes out. He's following for a little bit, but then Ben speeds off
Yeah.
and he loses him. He sees him in the gym later. So we see kind of like a montage of him
Yeah.
following Ben, just tracking Ben. So he sees Ben in the gym. He sees him at church.
Yeah.
He sees him at an art gallery with having dinner with his friends or family. He follows him then to a lake.
Yeah.
So he's following them. This is off like a dirt road in the tense the what is it? What was
Oh,
our word? The
tenseful?
tensefulness. Yeah, that's the tensefulness is really picks up
Oh, it
here.
really does pick up.
Yeah, there when because he turns off into a dirt road and he's going like up a hill, and Jung-soo's following him, and then Ben, like Jung-soo turns the corner and Ben's not there, so he keeps going. Then Ben ends up behind him. Not exactly sure how he did that, but he
Yeah, I don't
bamboozled him. Jung-soo parks his truck, and Ben continues, and then he walks up a hill, and Ben has his car parked and he's at a lake and he's outside looking off. And another great shot here. It's like a wide shot of the landscape. We see the lake
Yeah.
and like the mountains, and it's Ben looking off into the water, and then behind him is the car, and then behind the car is Jong-soo, like crouched down, creeping,
Yeah,
walking
looking
up to
over.
him. And I thought this was actually a good piece of kind of expectation subversion,
Yeah.
because like this is picking up, right? He's following him. He's walking up to him in the lake. He gets right between, or the car is just between them. I thought they were gonna fight, or he
Yeah,
was
something.
gonna advance on him, or say something, and then we quickly cut to our next scene. So I thought that was actually, I actually liked that. Like sometimes, kind of like we've been talking about, when not a lot's happening, it can be slow and boring.
Yeah.
But in this instance, I actually liked it because they brought it was super suspenseful, tenseful, bring it up, bring it up, and then cut. and
Yeah.
and I was like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And then cut, and nothing happened.
I
So
almost thought it
I
was a
actually thought that was
dream,
interesting.
like the way it was cut
Okay.
like that, because then we get him waking up. So I was like,
Mm,
it made me question. I'm like, wait, was that last one even real, or was that one just a dream? Because I was thinking like, how the hell did he get out of this? Like it looked like he
yeah.
was just like right there.
And if he got all that way, like, why go all the way there and not to do
Yeah,
anything?
exactly.
I mean, I guess he was following Ben to see if he could see Ben doing any weird shit. Like, I honestly thought when he turned off the dirt road, we were gonna see like his slaughterhouse. Like we were gonna see
Oh
it
yeah,
where
yeah,
he killed all the people. Because like I said, I thought he killed Hamie. So I
yeah,
thought, I'm like, okay, this guy's a killer. He's going down a dirt road off this secluded area. I thought maybe in this lake, maybe he's gonna dump a body or something.
yeah.
Like, I thought we were gonna see him do
Shady.
something incriminating,
Yeah,
but it didn't happen.
yeah. No, it's true. I expected the exact same thing too. I didn't know where we were going with it.
Yeah, yeah. It was interesting though. I
Yeah,
really liked it. Um, so like you said, then we see Jung-soo waking up. He gets a call from his mom,
yeah.
and she says she wants to get together. So they get together at a coffee shop or something. She says that she's in debt. And he actually says he has money, and she's all surprised. She's like, "You have money? How did you get money?
Yeah, I left your
What the
ass, yo.
hell?" Yeah, exactly. I left your ass with your crazy ass pops. You're not dead? What the hell? He and then Jong-soo asks his mom about the well.
Mhm.
Says, did our neighbors, was there a well over there? Because he doesn't know, right? Hae says that story, but then her mom and sister said it wasn't true, so he's not
Yeah, like he
sure.
doesn't know what to believe.
Yeah, and his mom said that it was there. Said that yes, there was a well. Um, I don't know why he didn't ask his mom, like, do you remember me saving a girl? He just asked if the well
Yeah,
was
I
there.
know. Yeah.
That could have maybe been a helpful question to ask, but he doesn't ask. He just asks if the well was there.
Wait, doesn't he ask though? I think he does ask
Does he?
afterward. I think she says,
Oh,
"Yeah, I
really?
remember this." Well, I don't know about that story though.
You might be right,
Yeah,
actually.
but I don't know. But honestly, that's a weird thing to ask. I feel like there's so many other things you would ask since you haven't seen your mom in 16 years.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, it was a weird interaction. Like, they weren't really talking a lot, and I mean, it would be odd,
it
right?
would
Like,
be
you wouldn't
odd.
just go and be like, "Hey, mom," and like give her a big hug, right?
No,
Like,
no,
it
no,
would
for
be
sure.
weird, but we
16
don't
years
really
is
see a lot in that
crazy.
scene. But 16 years is a long time, and yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, we see this sometimes in movies, with a long lost relative or something, or
Yeah.
someone that left, and it would be weird, and it could be a rocky situation. But we don't get the sense really that Jung-soo is mad at his mom for
No.
doing what she did. He's very nice in their interactions. So we don't exactly know how the whole thing went, but we only see a short snippet of that.
Yeah.
So he goes to spy on Ben again. So he's waiting in his car outside his building, and he gets a call from Ben. And Ben's like, "Oh, where are you?" He's like, "Oh, I'm in the area." He's like, "Oh, where exactly are you?" And then he taps on the window because he
Yeah.
was he was walking home. So that was creepy again. But Ben's nice. He invites him up. He's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
do you wanna come up? I got some friends coming over. You can come hang out." And Jong-su's like, yeah, sure. Uh, I guess he really wants to know what happened with Hae-mi, so he's continuing kind of his investigation per
Investigation,
se. So
yeah.
I guess that's why he's going up. But dangerous to go up with someone you suspected of killing
Oh,
someone.
100%. And I also find it funny too that I'm sure this isn't the first time Ben's noticing him because he drives the biggest, dirtiest truck. Like, there's no
Exactly.
way. Like, it's not like he's like in this little squad car or anything like that. Every single time he's very close to him too. And it's like all he has to do is look at his rear mirrors and be like, "Oh, look, there's there's Jong-soo."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, there's Jong-soo again. Hey, man. Yeah. I mean, there's even the one time when they're in like a traffic jam and he pulls up right beside him.
exactly.
And Jong-soo's trying to
Yeah,
like
exactly.
be inconspicuous, but
Even though
but
his car, he's been in his truck.
yeah. Yeah.
He
Like he drove him home from the airport.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's a big truck. It's a beat up. Like it's not like it would just blend
No.
in. Like it's pretty clearly Jong-soo. um so Jong-soo goes upstairs into Ben's apartment, and Ben has a cat now.
Mhm.
And Jong-soo's like, "Oh, you didn't have a cat before.
See?
What's this about? Where'd you get this guy?" So Ben says that he just adopted one. He wanted a cat, so he just adopted one. Jong-soo goes to the bathroom again, and he goes back into that same cabinet, sees the makeup, and he opens that drawer with the jewelry, and he sees the watch.
Yeah.
This is when he sees the pink watch that he gave Hae-mi
At the
at the
beginning.
start of the movie, and mixed in with all the other jewelry. So I was like, okay. So what I thought at this point, and you can let me know if you thought the same thing, or you tell me what were you thinking at this point?
Well, at this point, my first my first thought was like, okay, yeah, like he's responsible for doing something to her. Like at that point, I was like, yeah, 100%, he killed her. Like we
Okay.
haven't seen a body or anything yet, but like, at this point, I'm like, oh, he 100% did it. Like that's all I need. Is like I'm pretty sure that's her cat. And now
Yeah.
we're seeing the watch, and I'm like, oh, these are the things he's collected. I was like, oh snap! Like here we go.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, too. Like with all the jewelry in the cabinet, I was like, okay, so he's done this multiple times and he keeps something from all of his victims, right? And I was like, okay, so this is the greenhouses. These are people that he's killing. So it's kind of all unraveling at this point, and we're like, okay, so Ben is, like we all suspected, the one who did something to Hae-mi. We still don't know for sure, but he's like, okay, he stole her cat, cleaned up her apartment, and has her watch. So he definitely did something dirty here.
Yeah.
And so a woman comes, one of Ben's friends, because Ben said his friends were coming over, right? So one of the women shows up.
Well, that was the girl from earlier,
And-
right? Like the girl that he met at his new girl, basically.
Oh, was it the same one?
Yeah, it's the new girl.
Oh, I think you're right.
Yeah,
I think you're right. Okay, so yeah, it's the same.
because we never
the
learned her
woman that-
name, but I'm pretty sure that's the same girl.
No, I think you're right. I think it is.
Yeah.
Because Ben mentions when they go up there, he's like, "Oh, I was supposed to have someone helping me, but they're not here yet."
Yeah.
And I think you're right. It's the same woman from the coffee shop
Mhm.
when Jong-soo went to confront him. So she comes and she leaves the door open, and the cat gets out.
Yeah.
And they're down in the parking garage, and Jong-soo catches the cat by saying its name. So we learned the first time Jong-soo, I didn't mention this, but when Jong-soo went to Hae-mi's apartment for the first time to meet the cat, she says his name is Boyle
Mm-hmm.
because she found it in a boiler room.
Very creative.
Lazy ass name for a cat, but sure. Boyle, weird name. So the cat, yeah, he finds him. He's like hiding in a corner and he's skinnish. So he says, Boyle, come here. And then the cat comes to him. And then we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we know for sure that's Amy's cat. Ben has her watch. And yeah, this guy's the
Yeah.
psycho. We assume that I guess we never actually find out for certain
Yeah.
that he killed her, but it's pretty clear.
All the
I think,
evidence is pointing his
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And he's not hiding it too.
No, again, like, yeah,
He's
he's
very
like, even in this whole Like he invited Jong-soo up.
It's what I
Like,
mean.
bro, you have the cat that you just stole from the woman you just murdered, and this guy knows about it. Why would you invite him up? Like he has no respect for
He's too
Jong-soo at
cocky.
all.
He's too
Yeah,
cocky. He doesn't even
yeah,
think Jung-soo
100%.
can understand what murder is, probably.
Exactly. Even if I showed you the cat that I stole from her and the watch, you wouldn't fucking get it, you idiot. Yeah, he disrespected the hell of Jong-soo this whole
Oh
movie.
my goodness, man.
So all the friends are in Ben's apartment. They're like he said, his friends were coming over, so they all arrive. They're hanging out, and Jong-soo decides to leave. He doesn't really even say anything. He just kind of walks out. But Ben meets him in the parking lot, and basically he says like, "Why so serious?" Like he
Yeah.
the whole conversation. He's like, "Man, we're having a good time up there. You look so sad.
Yeah.
Like what's the problem, man? Why are you so upset? Why are you so?" He basically hits him with a "Why so serious?" I thought that was
No, he
funny.
basically does.
And then, did you have anything you want to mention about that? His friends, that scene?
I mean, he just at that point, Jung-soo feels like he gives up because he's like, "Hey, didn't you want to talk about Hey Me?" And he's like,
Right.
"I think I know everything that I need to know. I don't really want to talk about her anymore."
Yeah, so I think so Ben's kind of like playing with him, right? Like he must know that Jong-soo
Yeah.
now knows, right?
Hmm.
Because like you could just sense it in his delivery. Like he's like, "Oh yeah, like you said, don't you want to talk about Hey Me? You said that's why you came,
Yeah.
and now you don't." And I don't know. I mean, what did he think was gonna happen? Like, would he just let him go and go to the police or something? Like, I don't, he just
Yeah, I don't know.
doesn't care at all. I mean, like you said, he's super cocky, but that's just crazy.
No, it is. It just shows his cockiness. In those scenes, it really shows how little he thinks. Because I think the whole thing is just, like you said, it's a class thing, and it's really trying to portray that like, the rich do not care about the poor, and he thinks that the cops wouldn't care if some poor girl died. Like he'd go like, "Yeah, this girl died. Oh, she's no contact with her family. She has no friends." Like he just think they wouldn't care. He's like, "I will kill this girl. All the evidence will be on me, but they're not even gonna look into it." That's how
Yeah,
confident he feels. Because
but
why would they care about this girl?
Jung-soo can even bring the evidence to them and be like, look, he has her cat. Here's her watch. Like this guy killed her 100%. And yeah, but you're right. I think he just I mean, he mentions earlier in the movie that the police just don't care about the greenhouses, right? Like the abandoned greenhouses,
Yeah.
right? Because he's like they're all over Korea. Um,
Mhm.
so, but yeah, I guess what it means is South Korean prison is nothing because he doesn't care about going to jail. Jung-soo's dad doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I'll go.
Yeah,
I don't even want to sign an apology
that's
letter. I'll
true.
go to jail. I don't care. It's a great time in there. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Apparently.
So, like I just mentioned with his dad, so the next shot we get is Jung-soo back in court, and we see his dad get his sentence. So he's found guilty, and he gets 18 months in the slammer. So he goes to jail, and then we see again Jung-soo goes back to Haimi's apartment. So he's in her apartment on her bed, and he's got a girl with him, and she's stroking him,
Yeah.
and then like he kind of there's a little flash forward, I guess, and she's gone, and he's lying there by himself, but like his pants are still. I was like, was he just masturbating again? But he was imagining the girl was doing it, or
Oh yeah, that was Hey Me.
was that Amy?
It was Hey Me.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't even notice it was her. Well, there you go.
Because
I guess that.
it was a quick shot. It was a quick shot of her face.
Okay,
You didn't really see her face. But
right.
as I scrubbed through again, I looked. I was like, "Oh, that's Hey Me." So he's just like imagining her
Okay.
stroking him off. What?
Yeah, I was wondering, and yeah, I guess that is the case. But how
It
did
was
he
such a
got the
weird
code this
visual to me. I
time?
was laughing because his ass was out.
Yeah.
Like, why is he jerking off with his ass out?
Well,
Like it
I
was
don't
just a
know.
weird side.
And it was weird. It was like he was in when it was the imagination, I guess, because he was like Little Spoon, and she was spooning his bare ass with her hand down his pants. Like, yeah, I don't. But this is one of the things. Like this, I feel like added nothing to the movie, and there was 3 separate occasions where he's masturbating in her apartment. what does that do for the story, for the
It just
character?
shows loneliness, I guess.
I
It just
mean,
shows his
sure,
loneliness.
but I feel like that's not really necessary, but okay. um, and then we get
You
a
know what's
shot.
funny?
Oh, go ahead.
Actually, go. No, no, I was just gonna say it's funny you say that because I've watched a decent I've watched a decent amount of without going on a tangent. I've watched a decent amount of South Korean films. There's a lot
Mhm.
of jerking off in it. I'll just
Really?
say that. I think out of like maybe I'd say 60 to 70% of the South Korean movies I've watched, someone's masturbating in it.
Over half. What kind of movies you watching, man? This was your idea.
I'm just
You put
saying.
you've
I'm
put
just
this
saying.
you put this in my head, man. This is what attracts you is
There's
just
more sexual
South
things
Korean
in foreign
dudes.
films. They don't have sexual
Sure,
things in them in
sure.
North American films. What?
Okay, but there's a difference between a sex scene
Even
and
in Parasite,
is there jerking off in
when he's
Parasite?
fingering his girl on the
Oh yeah. Yeah, but that's not
yeah. There's always
masturbating.
like, huh?
That's not masturbating. What's up with you and
I know that's
masturbation, man? So next we see Ben. He's with the that girl again from the coffee shop. They're sitting
yeah.
on the ground, and this is when he's putting makeup on her. So we're like, okay, he's using that's how he uses that makeup, and she looks really uncomfortable. She you could tell she's not into it. So I guess
No.
I don't know if he threatened her or if he's he's just being weird and
Yeah.
I don't know why she lets him do this. Maybe because same thing, he's rich and
Yeah.
I'm assuming if she's his next victim, which is what
She's
we're
probably
led to
poor
believe,
too,
she's probably
maybe.
poor. Yeah, so
Yeah.
she's attracted to the money. So
Hmm.
she's like, yeah, this weird guy wants to put makeup on me, but he's rich, so whatever, I'll do it.
Exactly. Every man's
uh,
dream.
yeah, is that your dream
Yeah, just to get rich and then extra really rich and then to put makeup on people.
on poor girls?
Yeah.
So then we see Ben chilling outside. He's chilling on his car, and Jong-soo pulls up, and Ben walks over, and Jong-soo grows a pair, and he does Ben. He gets got. So he pulls.
He gets
So
got.
he Ben walks up right close to him. He has his hand to the side. He pulls out a knife. Bang, stabs Ben a couple times. Kills Ben. So he then drags him over to the car, throws him in the car, pours some kerosene down, and lights the car on fire. So just like Ben
Strips
explained, he
down
does
too.
to yeah, you're right. Takes all of his clothes off. So he's worried about evidence. Ben doesn't give a
Yeah.
shit, but he's like, no, I don't want any of Ben's blood on me. I don't want any evidence, nothing. But I guess because Ben's rich, right? So they'll actually look
Yeah.
into the murder.
The murder.
So yeah, he strips down, throws his clothes and everything, pours the kerosene, just like like Ben said that he did with the greenhouses. You know, he said a
Mhm.
little bit of kerosene and a lighter, and up it goes. So, very symbolic that that's how Ben goes out, lights it on fire, and then we see Jong-soo driving away and cut to black. So Ben gets his comeuppance for being too cocky. You know, he had no respect for Jong-soo, and Jong-soo shows him up, says,
And he pays
nah,
the
I'm a
price.
yeah, exactly. Gets him done. What'd you think of the last scene? Or how the ending of the movie in
It
general?
surprised me. I didn't think that was gonna end like that. I
Okay.
thought we were just gonna end in like just a whole mystery thing, like, did he ever do it? And thought we were gonna like is gonna end with him. Like, you know how he was doing the makeup on the girl? I thought it was gonna be like, all right, well, here's his next victim, and then he's
Hmm.
just gonna continue his
Yeah,
greenhouse
yeah, yeah.
cycle. And then Jong-soo was just gonna I thought it was gonna end with him, like I had that scene of him like typing, like just starting to write his story, and I thought it was gonna end right there. I didn't expect the whole last scene to happen. So it
Hmm.
surprised me. When I
Okay.
saw them like, oh, they're about to meet up, what's gonna happen in this last scene? And then he just started stabbing him. I was like, oh shit. So
Yeah.
that actually that surprised me.
Okay, yeah. No, that's a good point. I kind of well, I won't say I saw it coming. Um, I think a lot of this movie, like I said, as we've been going through it, I've actually understood it a lot more.
Mhm.
Because a lot of the things like the metaphor with the greenhouses, I kind of wrote it down in my notes because I was wondering if that was it, but I was like, I don't actually, I'm not sure if there's enough to back up my thought there. But as we've
Mhm.
gone through it, I think it's actually quite clear. And
Yeah.
So I like that last scene, and I like the way that the movie ends. But there was a lot of this movie that I didn't like, and I mentioned that
Hmm.
before.
Yeah.
And just before I mention that, I'll ask you first. Um, was there now that we've gone through the movie, do you want to give me any
Hmm.
things you liked, didn't like, anything specific?
I will agree with you. I like through the first watch, it is though during this whole movie, I was kind of going through it, like just accepting, like, okay, I see it's like a longer run time,
Mhm.
and I noticed that it was a kind of a slow pace. But the whole time I was thinking, I was like, all right, well, it's gonna pick up eventually. And then to me, once it started to pick up, then I was entertained, like I was locked in. Because like I said, as I was watching the movie, Ellie was just braiding my hair. I was kind of, I was like watching it. I was like, okay, we're kind of just getting introduced to these characters. That dude seems kind of shady, whatever it is. But like that scene when they're like smoking everything, to me, it started going up from there. And yeah, I agree. Like all like this, as well as I was joking, but all those like jerk off scenes and stuff, it was kind of strange. Like I kind of understood what they were doing, just kind of showing his loneliness and stuff like that. But I felt like they could have done it in different ways. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was just something to be edgy, like one of those kind of things
Mhm.
where they just throw in like edgy scenes just to be edgy.
Right.
Like, did she have to be shirtless for the dancing scene? Maybe not, but it was just like something that is makes it even more memorable. It's just like
Mhm.
one of those like artsy things. Like you watch like any like most foreign films, like I don't necessarily say most, like all foreign films do this, but there's certain like aspects of films where like they do certain things. I'm like, okay, well, you did that just to make it a little more something, just artistic.
Yeah,
But
just yeah,
overall, I liked
artistic.
it though. Overall, I
Okay.
liked it, and I think I went from like I kind of liked it, and then as I was doing like the more research for it, and kind of like watching a couple of videos and kind of hearing the director talk and stuff like that, I was like, okay, oh, now I see what you're talking. Now, like, there's still a lot of nonsense. I feel like, well, I shouldn't say nonsense, but a lot of like maybe stuff like maybe you could have done that differently. I
Mhm.
I appreciated the movie more after watching a second time and the research for
Yeah.
versus my initial watch.
Yeah, I think I would like it again on a second watch, or I would like it a lot more, sorry, on a second watch. Because like I just mentioned, I think I understand it a lot more having just
Mhm.
kind of broken it down with you.
Yeah.
Um, because watching it initially as I was going through it, there was a lot I didn't really get. And I felt that a lot of what they were setting up, we didn't get a payoff for later in the movie,
Mhm.
which I didn't like. I don't think everything has to have a payoff, but I thought, there was a lot that I felt was kind of left alone. Like the subplot with his dad, I really I felt like that could have been left out of the movie, honestly. Like what does as far as the main plot doesn't change anything. It tells us maybe a little bit more about Jong-su's character,
Mhm.
his background with his dad and his mom, same thing. But realistically, those aren't character traits that really explain kind of his actions or I think don't really motivate him to do anything specific in the movie. So I don't really think it's super relevant to his character and to this story. And really, if
Mhm.
that the whole thing with his dad, I kept trying to follow it and I kept trying to figure out, okay, he he's a super prideful guy and he doesn't want to write this letter, and then Jong-su's writing the letter, getting the neighbor to sign, and then okay, now he's getting sentenced to 18 months. And then the movie ends and I'm like, what was the point of that?
Yeah.
So that was something that I didn't like about the movie. And also the falling in the well thing. Like
Mhm.
Hey saying that story, so we think it's true, and then her mom and daughter say it's not true, and then Jong-su's mom says that there was a well. It's so like I, I'm still not sure if the story was true or not. And again, I don't really think it's relevant.
Mhm.
Um, I like I was saying before, I like when a movie, it doesn't have to answer every single question. It can leave stuff up to for people to decide or to talk about or think about, which is good. But something so insignificant like a story that she told, like I just didn't like that personally.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean, and that's fair too. And honestly, after the viewing, I didn't. I don't. I feel like I didn't. I mean, I did leave it thinking like, okay, well, it's one of those kind of movies, and I've seen a couple movies like this before, where it's like, okay, it's kind of open ended kind of thing. Like we watched Inception, and that was more of like a wrapped up. We talked about how I was like, no, it's pretty clear he's not dreaming.
Hmm.
This movie, it's still kind of open. Like we can't definitively say because there's no body and all these things, so it's still kind of up in there. Like you almost kind of hope for Junsin's case that he actually did
He didn't just kill
actually
some
did
innocent
do.
guy.
Yeah, exactly.
True.
But as far as the well thing, the only thing I'll give pushback on that is just from like watching like the TIFF interviews and everything. Like I know a big part of his theme for the movie was the whole the world is a mystery thing. And with that, keeping that in mind and watching it kind of a second time, I kind of looked at it as in like him saying that like everyone's truth is their own truth. You know what I mean? And it's just like we were watching the movie through Jung Sing's eyes, and everything that he was kind of going through is like it's kind of like how the world is. Like you may talk to one person, and that person may not remember a story from long ago. They'll be like, "Oh, was there a well?" Like I don't know if there was a well. Like he's trying to playing it like how it actually would be in real life. Like you're
Okay.
talking about something like 16 years ago. It's like, oh, yeah, I think there was a well. This person would be like, oh, yeah, I think so. Like a lot of people wouldn't know. That's what would happen. Everyone wouldn't be definitively like, yeah, there was a well. Yeah, that happened. All
Right.
these different people have different things going on in their lives, so they would just not 100% know. And then for him, that's crazy that for him though that he wouldn't remember saving someone.
Yeah.
But again,
Yeah.
did he actually? Did she not? Is Jung-soon so like? I mean, sorry, like Hae-mi so like out there that she'd make up a story like that? Maybe her family is the one actually telling the truth.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good point, and I see your side of it, and I like kind of what you talked about, saying his theme is that everyone has their own truth, and you're right. Like when thinking back, it's like that game of telephone, right? Like things kind of
Yeah.
change in people's minds and in your memory, especially for things that happened long ago. But the only thing I'd push back to your pushback would be, again, it still just seems insignificant. And I suppose if it's just kind of a side thing, just to enunciate that theme that he's trying to push through the movie, sure. But I think that there'd be a better way to do that and actually have it mean something to the main plot,
Mhm,
because like if whether the story was true or not doesn't change anything. And
mhm,
I would have liked it for it to be something that has actual implications, like you said with Inception, right? Like the ending, it's not crystal clear. Like we were talking about it, we think it's pretty clear that
yeah,
he's in reality, but
yeah,
if he's dreaming, then that changes everything, right? It's like, oh, that means that we were in a dream the whole movie, right? And that
yeah,
changes a lot of things. Whereas here is like, oh, I it actually turns out that the well story is true. Okay. Or
yeah,
the story wasn't true at all. Okay. Like that doesn't change
yeah,
anything. And I think that I would have liked it more if it's something that has more of an implication on the ending of the movie, or just a character or the plot in general. Not just something on the side that doesn't really mean anything. Even though it does push a theme across, I think just having it actually have some weight to it would mean a lot more.
yeah. No, it's true. I think like I will keep giving pushback and pushback. This isn't even like a pushback thing. It's something I thought of as we were talking about it. I guess it kind of the well thing for the well story to be true. It's a thing of okay, she's not a liar because at first we're like, does she even have a cat? Okay, she actually does have a cat. Oh, did she really fall in a well? Okay, she actually have a well, so she doesn't lie. Because like
Okay.
her aunt, and then would make you think that oh maybe she actually does make up stories, but no, maybe the cat thing was true, the well thing's true. Maybe when she says things, they actually are true. But before that, we're kind of questioning like, did she even have a cat? Is this go crazy? Like, did she just run
Yeah.
away? I don't know. Like, she seems kind of like a loose cannon kind of thing. But now when we have like these things that are, we find out maybe they are true, and it's like, okay, maybe she actually is normal, and then Ben actually is the what's going on here.
Okay. Fair enough. All right.
Yeah.
I'll accept that. I mean, it's not even necessarily that one of us has to be right or wrong. It's
No,
just
no, it's not
something
even
I
about
didn't love
no.
about the movie, which is fine. There
Yeah.
but facts. Do you have any interesting facts?
Um yeah, the only the I mean, we talked about how it was a short film. It was crazy. I saw that he actually only started directing like after he turned like 40. Like
Mm.
Chang-dong Lee.
Mhm.
And I thought it was interesting too because I always find it interesting when or directors or like writers do this. How like he was a novelist, so then
Okay.
his main character in this movie is a novelist. Like it's
Yeah.
like he's just throwing a little bit of himself into the story. Like, I always find it funny when characters when people do that. Just honestly, like anytime someone writes a story and then the main character's a writer, it's like okay, well, you're writing a story about a writer.
Yeah.
It's just like kind of like
Yeah.
a funny like concept to me. It's like if
Yeah.
LeBron wrote a movie and then the main character's a basketball player. It's like okay, it's very on the nosy which one to write
Yeah.
about. Almost
Yeah,
yourself in a
exactly.
way.
And the character was drafted to the Cavaliers and won 4
Yeah.
rings and
Yeah, exactly.
But
I one thing that go, sorry.
well, I was just gonna say, I wonder what he was doing before. Like, if he started only at 40, like, do you know, was he working in the film industry, but he wasn't directing,
He was
or
just writing
like,
novels. He was
okay,
just a writer.
and he wanted to bring something to the big screen. Interesting.
He just like he said that like once he turned like 40, he just felt like he wanted to do something else.
Hmm.
That's what he said in an interview. He was just like he's like, yeah, I heard like a Japanese quote saying that like once you turn 40, like that's it, like nothing else will like interest you. And I guess he said that's something that stuck with him. He's like, nah, that's not true. I'm sure I could find something else that I could go
Yeah,
do.
I feel like that too. I feel like I mean, I'm not 40, but I feel like when the time
Yeah.
comes, there's all sorts of new things to
No, for
try all the
sure.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, that resonated with him. And he's like, "Oh, what? Oh, that's stupid. It sounds like a stupid thing to say." So, like, let me see if I actually can find something. And it's still kind of within his same realm.
Right.
It's not from novels to screenplays, but it's still. I mean, then directing. That's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Oh, that is interesting. Uh, I said mine about the in the scene where they're smoking weed, that was filmed over a month because they could only
Yeah,
do a few minutes at a time. And the only other fact I had was that in when they're at the farmhouse, you can hear in the background the North Korean propaganda, and they
yeah,
even talk about it in
hmm
the movie. Because when Ben pulls up, he's like, what is that sound?" And Jong-soo says that's what it is.
yeah.
Um, but what I read was that they use the sound, like, you can actually hear that in that area of South Korea. And what they used in the movie, they used sound recorded by a North Korean defector. So
Oh,
someone
really?
that was in North Korea, like, had the audio recorded, and they defected, and then they were able to use that. Because when you're in the area, it's kind of in the background, so it's really tough to actually record it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's how they got the sound for the movie.
Oh, that's jokes. I didn't. I didn't see that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
No, it's interesting. I mean, well, I actually said one of some of my facts like as we were going talking about it, and then even the thing about him talking about the world is a mystery.
Mm.
That was part of my facts. The only other thing I'd say that he also said was what I thought was interesting, like that whole like ending scene. Because someone asked him like, why did he get naked? Like, was there anything else besides just the hiding the evidence thing? And he kind of talked about like how it was like a symbolism of. He says you could look at it either way of like he's stripping himself and now he's kind of showing himself as almost like as like a wild animal kind of thing, like he's just completely lost his sanity and like him being stripped naked is like he's just like a beast now, or you could look at it as like he's
Primal,
like
yeah.
reborn almost.
Okay.
Yeah, it's either one of them because someone asked him which one it is, like it's kind of open to into
Okay.
however you want to look at it kind of thing.
I didn't think anything of it other than burning the evidence, but
So did I.
I like that actually. That's
Yeah,
interesting to think about. So if there's nothing else, Filmies
let's
time.
get into the
The
films.
Filmies brought to you by
Which
absolutely nobody.
okay,
So
I was gonna say, do you get a sponsor? I didn't hear
yeah,
about it.
yeah, yeah. I,
It's
I
news
hooked
to
us up.
me.
I hooked us up between last episode and now, man. We're sponsored by Tenseful Enterprises.
Oh, perfect, perfect. All right, so yeah, well, let's get into the Filmies. So, if you're new to the show, the Filmies is an award show that we have during our podcast. We have 6 awards. We just give them out to moments in the movie, and we'll go one through one. So, the first one we have is the Ferris Bueller Award. Sorry, and it's just a moment in the movie we deem to be lazy through maybe it's the director, writer, or something that the character did or said. But again, it's something that's small, usually doesn't hurt the movie, but it's just something fun that we want to point out. So, Scott, what is your Ferris Bueller Award?
My Ferris Bueller Award goes to Ben.
Okay.
And we talked about it. You had mentioned it, and that's, I didn't really elaborate too much on it, but it's him
Purposely.
not seeing Jong-soo following him.
Yeah.
How does he not see it, man? It's over and over throughout the movie. He's always parked in the same spot beside his apartment building, and when he pulls out, he doesn't even wait a long time. He goes like pretty much right behind him. He's
Yeah.
in this beat up truck that's very obvious, and he even pulls up right beside him, like I said, for in one point in a traffic jam. Like, and especially, especially when they're going up the dirt road
Oh yeah.
because like you're going up a dirt road, there's nobody else around. You would definitely notice that truck behind you. Like in a jam-packed street, I can understand that. You know, there's lots of
Mhm.
cars, it just mixes in with the rest. Like I can excuse that. But going down a dirt road by yourself, how do you not know? And I guess he did because he kind of snaked around and got behind him.
Yeah.
And but he never mentions anything about it, or we never see him react in any kind of way, like as if he knows he's being followed. So
Yeah.
I don't actually know if he sees him or if he sees him and just doesn't care, but I don't care. That's good. That's getting my lazy award. How do you not see him in that truck?
You know, I was very much on that too, but part of me was like, he just he must know. I was
Yeah.
getting frustrated too. I was like, his big dirty ass truck, man. There's no way you wouldn't see it. It's
Exactly.
powering over his Porsche. Like it's not, and like you said, he doesn't wait. He pulls out and he immediately follows him.
Yeah.
Not even a
Instant.
car in between.
No, man. And there's the one time where he's driving down the highway and then he kind of Ben speeds up because he's driving a Porsche, right? So he speeds up
Yeah,
and speeds away. So I was like, okay, he noticed him and he got away. But
yeah.
I don't know. In the like I said, when they're going up the dirt road, and then he ends up at that lake and he just steps out of his car and he's just chilling there. Like he doesn't even care that Jung-soo's following him.
He does not care.
Or so it's either he doesn't give a shit or he doesn't see him, and that's either way it's getting my lazy award.
Uh, Great, and I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. So my Ferris Bueller goes to Jong-soo, and it's very simple. I kind of gave a little bit of it earlier, but it's for him not giving pushback on when he asked Ben what he did for a job, because that
Okay.
cheesed me a little bit. The first
Yeah.
time I was kind of like okay, but then when I scrubbed through it again looking for my awards, and he he legit asked him, "What do you do?" And he says, "I just play." And then he says that you wouldn't understand anyway. If someone said that to me, either I'm fighting them or I'm giving them pushback. The fact that he let that slide cheese me, and I got to give it to him.
Okay.
Don't be a Jong-soo. That's been a theme of this movie.
Yeah.
Don't be
That's
a
gonna yeah,
Jong-soo in
that's
this
gonna be the
situation.
slogan. Don't be a Jung-soo.
Don't let someone punk you like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. You're right. You're right. Like it's madness that he's just like, yeah, even if I told you wouldn't understand. That's rude as fuck. That's crazy.
I don't care how much money you make. Like I don't
Yeah.
like that doesn't make
Yeah, that's madness.
it
You're
doesn't
right.
make any it
And
doesn't make
he's
any sense.
and that's in front of Hey Me too.
That-
Like you gotta come on, man. You gotta grow up here and have a backbone.
don't be a Jong-soo.
Nope, don't do
be a
it.
Jong-soo. That's our next shirt. That's before 10 school. Don't be a Jong-soo.
I like it.
All right, so Scott, the next award is a fit check. So it's very self-explanatory. We give a award to the best outfit. We haven't done worst yet. We've been trying to stay positive. I think we're
Yeah,
sticking with that theme this episode too. But so, what is your best fit or your
yeah,
worst
yeah.
fit?
I've got a good fit. There was actually a few
Okay,
good ones in this
there
movie.
was a good. Oh,
And I was trying to pick between two, but the one I decided on was at an hour 41. It
okay,
is the woman who comes to meet Ben at the coffee shop
okay.
when Jong-soo is pulls up on him and he's asking him about Hey Me. The woman that comes in, we don't learn her name, but
Nah,
this is the girl that eventually becomes like who would become Ben's next victim. Like
yeah.
he's putting the makeup on her. So what she has on is a black pair of pants, nothing crazy there. A nice clean little like gray turtleneck kind of. It's not super high the turtleneck, but it's like a
No,
collar.
I
A nice.
remember it.
Oh, you remember it? Okay.
I remember it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
A black cream and salmon like plaid jacket
Mhm.
with gold buttons. I thought that was
Yeah.
fresh.
No, that
And
was
then
fresh.
she also had a red purse
Okay.
with gold buckles on it. So like the combination of the purse with the jacket
Oh,
was
okay. Yeah,
clean.
yeah.
And she just had black boots on. You can kind of see it a little bit when she's getting
Okay.
in the car later, but really it was the jacket and the purse combo that did it for me. It was clean.
No, that's a clean outfit. I remember that outfit too, because my first thought too, I was thinking is like, I thought he goes after poor girls. Like this girl was just like she was just
Ah,
nice.
true.
I
Yeah,
was like,
that's
I
a
don't
good
know if she
point.
was just maybe she's in credit card debt too, and she's buying stuff. Everyone's
Yeah,
on credit
yeah,
card debt. Everyone's in debt in this movie,
yeah,
but
exactly.
Ben
Yeah,
apparently and his friend.
I think it. Yeah, well, again, I think that's the classism kind
Yeah,
of
the common
theme.
theme.
So like, yeah, his friends that are all rich and they're totally fine. But
Yeah.
like I said too before, was that they mentioned throughout or at some point in the movie, I can't remember exactly when, but they mentioned that the unemployment rate that's
Yeah.
really high. So I think it's like they're in a state of recession kind of. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of people that are, like you said, in debt or in tough times. So yeah, I think it's pretty normal. But yeah, you're right. This girl was swagged out,
She was hella swagged. That's what
and
I was
we can
thinking. I was like,
assume
oh,
she
he
was
has a
poor.
new. Sorry, say that again.
Well, and we can assume that she's poor because if that's who he's going
Yeah.
after. But
That's why I remember the fit because it stood out to me. I was like, "Oh, damn, that's his new girl. She's flossing like that. Okay."
yeah, I didn't even think of that, but that's a good point.
But I was worried. Okay, so my I thought we were gonna have the same one at first because it's around the same time. But
I had a
mine's around
backup, so
50. Okay, 57 minutes and 26 seconds. It's one of Ben's friends. It's a girl too. We stick with the both the females. This is the first time I've actually done it. I think I've had a female fit, but it was his friends. When they first met up at I think it was like a bar or wherever it is, and they were smoking outside. So you
mm.
see, she's got the black coat. The thing that got me is just the way she had the black coat draped over her shoulders as she was smoking.
Ooh,
First of all, that was
okay,
just like a fresh look, and we
yeah.
didn't see what she had under, so I was just going off of that. So we get the black coat draped over the shoulders. We got the black pumps. We got like these black flared pants with a kind of like a white stripe coming down, and then
Oh yeah,
you remember or no?
yeah. I do.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you do remember? Okay, and then she
Hmm.
kinda has, like, there's a white stripe going across, which is almost it's kinda like going around the waist, and I was like, "Okay,"
Like a belt.
and then we don't really get the big reveal until we're actually in it because then she takes off the coat, and then the big reveal is of, 'cause I just thought it was like a white shirt, and then but then it's like a white blouse, and I saw someone online called it a cold shoulder blouse because, like, the shoulders have, like, holes.
Ah,
'Cause I was trying to
okay.
figure out what the hell it was, and I saw someone say it's the cold shoulder blouse. I'm like, "Alright, so cool, I like that.
Ah,
Cold shoulder
okay.
blouse." And then
Cold
she
shoulder
has, like, this
blouse.
necklace on that I couldn't really tell what it was based off the shape, but it just the whole thing was fire. It caught me with the cold shoulder blouse. I'm gonna see if I can get Eloise one. Don't worry, Eloise, I know you're listening, I'm gonna get you one. I was kinda feeling that I was kinda feeling that top, so
Nice,
she gets my
nice.
fit check.
I like that. I also like what you said, like just the way she had the jacket on, just it's a
Yeah.
fresh look, because it's very casual. You got the jacket over the shoulder while you're smoking before you go in back into the restaurant. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, no, she's looking fresh.
Nice fit.
Alright, so what is your so our next award, we have a six-man award. It's the, Nas Reed Award, and, so it's not quite our MVP, but it's someone that had an outstanding performance that wasn't one of the main characters. They could have been, like, a side character. They could have had just, like, one scene or something, but they stood out to you in their moment, and you given some shine. Who do you got?
So my Nas Reed six man goes to Boyle, the cat.
Okay.
Who's like we said, we didn't see him as they talked about him throughout the movie, so we only
Yeah.
see him for a very very short time. So definitely eligible for the six man because he gets very little court time.
Yeah.
Um, but really, he gets my six man for very simply being the final confirmation
Mm.
for Jong-soo to kill this sicko.
Yeah.
He's at the house, like right where like okay he has this makeup and he's talking weird about Hey Me and he's talking weird about these
Mm.
greenhouses and everything. So we think he's done something shady to Hey Me, but we don't know for sure. And then Jong-soo calls Boyle and he comes right to him and we're like, all right, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, Ben killed Hey Me. Boyle confirmed it. Thank you very much, Boyle. Let's dead this motherfucker that's being fucking a psycho throughout the whole
Yeah.
movie. And Jung-soo gets it done. And good job, Boyle. That's my six man.
I'm not mad at that. That's a good I didn't even think about giving Boyle a six man. But as you say it, I'm like, it just makes sense. 100% Boyle deserves that.
Yeah.
And as we know, I don't know what he's saying now. Now he's just Boyle's got no home,
Boy, yeah, true.
no owner. Who's feeding Boyle now? Maybe he's
Yeah,
gonna
that's a
go
good
through.
point.
Maybe Jong-soo will come through.
Well, I guess they'll figure. Yeah, maybe Jong-soo will go get him, or whoever when the cops go to Ben's place to investigate, they'll see that the cat's there and they'll give him to
True.
a shelter or something. He'll be all right. Don't worry, he'll be fine.
Burning 2 featuring Boyle.
Burning 2, the return of Boyle. Boyle's return.
All right, so my 6-man goes to Jung-soo's mom. I know that sounds weird to give her a 6-man,
Okay.
but honestly, it's just because she made me laugh. Like her, the bank's trying to get money from her. She said that 5 million won, and she's kind of just making jokes about it. And like she's clearly still spending money because she comes in, she's kind of looking like, like she's still got that fresh ass jacket on and everything.
She
Got
was
her
my
nails
backup
done.
fit check.
She's still, huh?
She was my backup fit check.
Oh, she was?
Yeah, bro, she was swagged
No,
out.
that's what I'm saying. And she's in debt and she's walking around like that. She's clearly still spending money, which made me laugh. Because she's talking about how like they're coming after her and she's making it seem like they're in the wrong almost. She's like, man, they keep following me. Like they look like Grim Reapers. I'm like, yeah, you owe them money.
Yeah.
And like you're still spending it. So I gave her a 6-man just because she made me laugh. Because it's like in her small moment. I'm just like, that's crazy. She doesn't.
I love it. I think that's the pure essence. I think both of us found the pure essence of the Nasreed 6-man this time.
Oh,
This is
100%.
great. We both found like she has like 2 minutes of screen time. Boyle, same thing. And we gotta love him. We show him some love for it. That's what this award's all about.
100%. That's
and
what
I
it's all
love it.
about.
Yeah, I love it.
So what was your very self-explanatory? What was your favorite quote?
So my favorite quote comes from the scene at the farm when Hae-mi got high and she danced, and then they carried her into the house and put her. She's lying down, so it's just Ben and Jong-soo outside talking, and the quote is from Ben, who says this to Jong-soo. He says, "In Korea, there are tons of greenhouses, useless, filthy, unpleasant-looking greenhouses. It's like they're all waiting for me to burn them down. And as I watch them burn to the ground, I feel great joy." So the reason that's my quote is I feel like that's the closest we ever get to understanding Ben and his character and what he's doing, and like that's the closest we get to him really revealing what he's doing, right? Because like we mentioned, there's never any clear cut black and white evidence that he killed Hae-mi. We don't know like for certain. It's quite clear for us to infer, but we don't know for certain. So I feel like this is the closest that we get, and I think that this really reinforces that greenhouse metaphor. Like he's comparing the greenhouses that he describes as useless, filthy, unpleasant looking, and they're waiting for me to burn them down. So
Yes,
like
wild.
he's basically saying that this is what poor people in Korea are: useless, filthy, unpleasant
Yeah.
looking. Like he just and he says, the police don't have time. They don't worry about crimes like this, like me killing poor people. Like I think it's very clearly that metaphor, and that's what he's talking about, and that's why it's my favorite quote.
No, it's good. Like, after like you hear him say about the greenhouses, and you're like, okay, good greenhouses, like especially abandoned ones, are kind of nasty. But like
Yeah.
you said, like when you really realize near the end of the movie, like, man, he was really talking about poor people. Like he really has a disgust, and that's
Yeah.
really his whole motivation and his drive is to do it once every 2 months. That's
Yeah,
it's a
I
good
don't
pace
know.
for him.
I don't know how he found that pace specifically, and I still wonder if at that lake that he drives up to, if that is where he dumps the bodies,
Oh,
because
yeah.
like we said, like Jong-soo was following him, and then he parked his car, and then he walked up. So there would have been, a couple minutes or some time before when Jong-soo got there to when Ben got
Yeah.
up to the lake. So maybe he had dumped the body already, because we don't know for sure. But I'm wondering if that's what that was.
Yeah, or like you said, is he burning them too? But then
Yeah.
again, we don't see it. There's no greenhouse that ever really gets burnt because Jung-soo
Mhm.
like looks for everything. So it's like that was clearly just a metaphor. So maybe he's dumping them. Who knows what he's doing with the bodies?
Yeah, we don't know,
We don't really know.
but yeah, I thought that that quote. It's a longer one, but I thought that the metaphor that he's like you said, as we get later into the movie, we find out what he's really talking about at that moment. I thought it was really powerful for that quote, and it knowing that now, it just has that much more meaning, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that quote too. That's a good pick. Good quote.
Appreciate it.
So my quote, I mean, I'm realizing I'm looking at my quote in my notes, and then, like we kind of went over this when we were just talking about it. My quote is the world is a mystery, and then we were kind of getting into that how we were going giving each other our pushback and everything. But I'll still say like I like this quote because I feel like it really summarized like the theme of the movie well. And I picked that quote before I even watched his interview, and then realized that like he said that was kind of like it was one of the themes that he was going for. And I was like, okay, perfect. And then and because from like this all the small things that we get through the movie, like again, like some of them like the mom and then Ben and Amy, etc. Like everything is kind of like up in the air. And like like I was saying, every person kind of has their own truth and like what is the actual truth. It's like that whole mystery thing that kind of you realize at the end of the movie is like everything was kind of, and again, like as we were discussing, and I agree with you, there were some things that definitely could have been cut. But it was just that when I watched him in that interview, like when he was at TIFF and talking about how everyone has their own truths kind of thing, and how there is a mystery to everything. Well, not to everything, but there is a mystery. I was like, okay, yeah, I that quote means more now because Jong-soo is the one that said it when he was talking about, oh, what are you gonna write about? And he just says, well, the world is a mystery, so it's hard for me to pick because there's so many things to write about. And I was like, okay, it's interesting. So I just like that perspective.
Yeah, I like that. I I honestly didn't even really notice that theme until I was watching it, and but you made a really good point when we were talking about it before, like with especially with Hamey and the well story. Yeah, you made some really good points saying, like the way people remember things is not always just going to be exactly the same, and things change, and people think of things very differently, and everything is a mystery. So I like that quote too, now having had you explain your thoughts on
Mhm.
that aspect of the movie, and I didn't see that, but from your point of view, having explained that, that's really good. I like that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So what was your best scene or your favorite scene, I should say?
Yeah, my for me the best scene is when Jong-soo is following Ben up the dirt road to the lake. So I
Okay.
know I was hating on it just a bit ago, saying like, how did Ben not see him? But it's still my best scene, because I talked about a little bit before, is how they build so much suspense, like as he's following him, right? I wrote down here the music too, like
Mm,
if you watch the movie, the music that they have playing at this time, it's not like a constant background music. It's kind of like strings that get pulled every few seconds, like a bing
yeah.
bing, like it's kind of like that Jaws music, almost like dun dun
Yeah,
dun
that's
dun, like
true.
it's,
Yeah.
it's just building that suspense of, we see him and Ben, and they're going to a secluded area, and I'm the whole time I'm thinking, okay, what's gonna happen next? And they have this music building up the suspense. Uh, and then he loses Ben when he turns the corner, and then ends up behind him, and I'm like, oh shit, Ben's behind him now. What's gonna happen? And then there's that expectation subversion. Like I said, like I was, all the suspense is built up. I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then there's that great shot where they're almost like Jung-soo's right behind him, and I thought he was maybe gonna attack him or something, and then boom, it just cuts, and I was like, and some people might not like that because
Yeah.
you're building it up and there's no payoff, but I don't know, I don't even know if I can explain it. I just like the way that they did it in that scene, and I thought it was going one way, and then they took it another way, and the way it was built up, I really like that, and also that shot, like I said, of the
Oh,
car
beautiful
between the
shot.
two of them, and then you see the scenes behind them with the lake and the mountains and the leaves and the greenery. It was a great shot. So that's another reason that was my best scene.
I like how your best scene and your Ferris are kind of combined.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. They were lazy. Ben was lazy in that scene, but it was still the best. I don't know. You can call
No,
me
there's nothing wrong with
contradictory,
that. It's
whatever.
great. And again, I'm realizing that like I stepped on my own self with my best scene because my best scene was it's the when they're smoking and it's just Jung-soo and Ben talking and
Right.
I won't repeat everything I said, but I just really like this scene just because it really starts to set the tone of the movie. Like we kind of had like our perception of Ben of him being kind of like strange, but this is when he gets like it's strange and then it gets kind of dark when he really gets into the talking about his greenhouses, and then we get a little more on Jung Soo because we get to understand his relationship with his parents because he talks about how his mom left, and and then there's the quote. I didn't say it fully, but I actually have it written down here that Ben said where it's like where he's talking about he's where I said he has like almost like a god complex where he says
Mhm.
it's like the rain. Rain falls, overflows the river, causes a flood that sweeps the people away. It's like you think the rain judges? There is no right and wrong, just the morals of nature. And it's like he thinks that him burning greenhouses is comparable to the rain. Like he thinks he's just a part of that nature in that sense. And again, I was like, no, it's bullshit. Like you're making the choices. Like rain is
Yeah.
rain. You are not rain. You're not the weather. Like you make the choice to do
Yeah, but
these
it's
things.
it's a good insight into his character, right? Because
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
we're seeing that this is how he thinks. But you're right. That's an amazing scene. I really like that one too. That would have probably been my runner up. That's 'cause the interactions between all three characters is really good, and
Mm,
the way we see time pass, like with the sun going down and the both characters opening up. Yeah, it's a great scene, and it looks amazing too.
yeah, true. Yeah, no, 100%. So now our last but not least award is our MVP. So who is your most valuable performer in the
My
movie?
most valuable player, um, I kind of just mentioned it, and I've been talking about it a little bit, goes to Kyung Pyo Hong,
Okay.
which is the cinematographer of the movie.
Oh, okay.
I thought this movie, like I said, there's some things I liked and didn't like about this movie, but this movie looks amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I love the way this movie looked. I also looked him up, and he also did Snowpiercer and Parasite,
Oh, shit.
which are two of Junho Bong's
Yeah.
the big movies, and those are also really great. Parasite also cleaned up at the Oscars, so
Yeah.
critically acclaimed. But but yeah, so for this movie, the cinematography is outstanding. I think
Yeah.
the what they did with a lot of long takes, so that just that style of filmmaking, I thought was really cool. Like because they take their time with a lot of this movie, having long takes of the actors. For example, the when Hae takes her shirt off and she's dancing, it's like I said, it's like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes of one single shot, and it's slow pans around showing the landscape, keeping that fluid motion with her character as she's dancing, and there's little flashes of sunlight, and then it pans up to a tree with the sun. There's also a very long take when Jong-soo kills Ben, and then he
Man.
puts him in the car, takes his clothes off, puts it in the car, lights the car on fire. All of that is all one take, and it takes, again, this is maybe a couple minutes, and I really like that it's one slow long take with lots of camera movement, not fast camera movement, but it's
Yeah.
nice and smooth as it's going through. And there's a couple really good shots that I'll shout out. There's a
Yeah.
few when the early mornings when Jung-soo is running, and he's going to the greenhouses, checking them out, and there's like fog rolling through the fields. Some of that just looks amazing.
Mm.
There's a cool shot in the art gallery when he's following Ben. It's from behind Jong-soo, so you see the back of his head, and then in front of him is an art piece, and it's all
Oh,
red, and
yeah.
there's fire, and I thought that was
Yeah,
a
that looks
cool
crazy.
shot. And then, like I said, the car at the lake. Um, and then the twilight scene, just it's the lighting is incredible. Like we said, it took a month so they could get the perfect lighting for all these little moments, and it just looks incredible. And then the overall lighting and coloring of the movie I just loved, and I he's my MVP just because I thought it stood out to me more than anything else. That's what stood out to me was how this movie looked, and it looked amazing, and he's my MVP.
Oh, it's a great MVP. Like at first when you said the name, I was like, who's he giving MVP to? But the fact that if he's the cinematographer, 100% well deserved. Yeah, I agree with all those shots. Those shots really stood out to me too, and especially like I wasn't really thinking about the cinematography much. Like obviously I was just taking in the movie, and I was like, it's really
Mhm.
well shot. But I think once we really hit, like especially like her dancing, I was like, oh
Yeah,
damn, like
that
we're
was
really looking at
incredible.
something
Yeah,
crazy here. Like there's a
yeah,
lot of, and then because all those other shots you named were after that, 'cause, like the mountain shot, and then the museum
yeah. You're
shot.
right.
So then that was when I was like, okay, now he's just flexing on us.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
doing his bend.
Yeah, that was exactly yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's amazing. Like I said, like he's following Hey Mia, she's dancing, and the lighting is perfect, and there's little flashes of sunlight, and it's amazing. It looks so good. I love it.
So my MVP, it's funny because my MVP is Chung Jong-sa. So it's the girl that played Hey Me.
Okay.
And the only reason I say it's funny is because when I mentioned her like earlier, you were kind of like, and like I feel like she didn't really do that much. I'm like, well, that's my MVP. So when we get there, we'll get to that. But I don't, you know what's funny though? Like I going into this movie, and I'm gonna get into it as I talk about it. I thought this movie, because I didn't watch the trailer. I thought the direction of this movie was gonna be something completely different. It's kind of funny how like expectations. I think I mentioned this before in another podcast, but expectations can really lead you down a path in a movie, especially a movie like this, where you end up something completely different. Like I've watched a handful of South Korean movies, and like one of the common themes they have is revenge films. Like I watched again, she was in a movie called Ballerina. It's a revenge film. I saw The Devil, really good movie. What's it called? Chaser. Uh, there's so many good movies, and they all, not all of them, but a lot of them have like this revenge factor. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. It's something maybe I'll look into why South Koreans love revenge movies so much. But I thought this was gonna be a revenge movie with that going on because Eloise, and she incepted me. Eloise is my girlfriend, for anyone listening. She said, "Oh, I think maybe it's gonna be a revenge movie because she was saying like, yeah, she was like, oh yeah, you called me ugly,' and I was like, oh, so this is gonna be her revenge. So the whole time I'm
Mm,
watching, thinking that she's plotting on him, and then the way it was going, it was leading that way. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, let me have him like hook up with him, leave
yeah.
him, and now I'm gonna show up with another guy, mess with them, and like I keep inviting him to places, mess with them. I'm like, oh yeah, this is so the whole time I was thinking it's a revenge movie. I thought she was in control. So my whole
Oh
view of this
shit.
movie, like the first act, was something completely different. I never thought she was like a damsel in distress or anything like that. The whole time I'm thinking, oh, like this is her revenge. She's in control. It wasn't until the smoking scene where I was like, okay, maybe this isn't a revenge movie. And
Damn,
then I was just like,
that's an interesting point of view. I never looked at it like that. I mean, I didn't go in with that
yeah,
thought in my head.
mhm,
But you're right. Like if you could look at it that for the first, like 2/3 of this movie, yeah, you're right. Like let me let me get this guy and we'll go out on a date. I'll invite him over to feed my cow. I'll hook up with them. And then yeah,
yeah,
like you said, all this stuff that she's kind of playing him.
mhm,
And you're right. It definitely could have gone that direction. That's interesting. I didn't think of it because like I said, I didn't go in with that preconceived notion. But
yeah.
the way you explained it, I could see how you got that far into the movie thinking that.
Yeah, and then exactly like I said, went to that one scene, I was like, okay, maybe it's not that kind of movie. But anyway, that being said, then I started realizing that's not what the movie is. But I want
Yeah,
to give her MVP just because I feel like the array of emotions that she displayed, and not even knowing this was her first movie, because to me, it starts off with the whole like just the fact that she could just be so weird. Like she was so weird, like the whole like orange thing, and then suddenly she's just explaining her whole like philosophy, the whole philosophy of like the little hunger, the greater
yeah,
hunger
yeah,
thing. And then like when she just breaks into tears telling about the thing with the sunset, and it was just like she just completely just broke. Like at first it just seemed normal, then she just completely just starts crying, whatever it is. And then in another moment, she's just like dancing and she's like being goofy. And then when she's telling the well story about like how, oh yeah, like I fell in a well, like, and you don't even remember. And then she's like deadpan and saying she's almost kind of angry. And that was when I still thought I was like, oh shit, revenge. Like, because
yeah.
it seemed like she was angry. Like that was another. But to me, that was like oh yeah, like, and that was her like almost to the camera of like her showing that angry face and like, and you don't remember me. And like, this is what this whole thing is about. And I was like, oh shit. And then again, like another thing when she's doing the dance, and then she just starts crying, and I'm just like, damn, like these rays of emotion she's just showing throughout this whole movie, and like all those scenes like are memorable to me, like, and that's why I give it MVP, because like a lot of the scenes that she's in, it's like they're memorable to me, even like if they were weird, if they were just like funny, if they were just like sad. Like if I felt bad for her, like as the movie went on too. Like I was hoping that he found her or something, like because she just seems like someone that's just like innocent. Like she doesn't deserve any of this. You know what I mean? It's like she was a bad person or anything. She's just kind of a person that's caught up in all this.
And she was just kind of weird. Yeah, she wasn't a
Yeah,
bad person at all. No, she
yeah,
didn't. Like we said, you can kind of feel like maybe she's playing Jong-soo at the beginning, but I think her intentions were real. I think she's just kind of weird.
yeah.
But you're right. Like the performance, early on, I wasn't saying it was bad.
No,
That's
no,
definitely not what but
yeah, no.
but you're right, especially for your debut. I think it's really strong. She did play the different emotions well. You're
Yeah,
right, and no, I like it. It's good. We but that's why we have the pod, right? We have different
yeah.
opinions, and
No, for sure.
that's what it's all about. So.
No, 100%.
All right, well, that's gonna do it for us then. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening. Be sure to follow us on all social medias at the Film Room Pod. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Rate us 5 stars every time.
Every
Leave
time.
us
Every time.
every time. Leave us a comment. Reach out. We love hearing back from you guys, getting feedback, and till next week.
Till next weekend again. Write a review and we'll read it on the pod.
Yep.
There's some extra incentive.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We might get in trouble, but we'll do it anyway. Here we are.
Here we are.
Peace out, y'all.
Peace out.